Okay, so are we doing like an actual start, or is this Muppetry going up? We should probably do an actual start, right? Hello, everyone. It's Sirs and Madams, and it's here! OST 8 is here! Let's do it! We're gonna react to this. We've got quite a few members of the crew in the building. Everyone who has seen Volume 8 is the crew that's in the building. So we've got Goose. Hello, Goose.
Hello, everyone. It's been a while.
We've got Matthew completing the duo of Ginger Nuts.
Yes, I'm still alive somehow.
My baby boy.
Yes, it's been a long couple of years, dude.
Now I'm 25, as like a week ago, so I'm bringing like the minimum age of Sirs and Madams up by.
And I'm married now, so that's a thing too.
But y'all old as shit.
Yeah, shit went down. And then we've got representing from across the Atlantic, we've got High Five Water Slide.
Hello.
Our badass metal vocalist of our most recent release. And, you know, everything else about it because he's Paul. And he's really good at music. And then here with me, I have a couple clowns that you may or may not be familiar with. We've got Sterling.
Hi.
He said hi. And then we've got Bruce, who's not going to say hi because he's Bruce.
Yeah, I'm just busy. Sorry.
He's just busy.
Sorry. I'm doing last minute stuff quickly.
Okay, last minute stuff. Anyway, yeah, so we were not expecting this to come out when it was Paul, you were the one that found it first, right?
Yeah, it's a bit of a sneaky drop, wasn't it?
It was sneaky McSneaky pants for sure.
Yeah, all of a sudden everyone was like, hey, I'm in Australia and I can see this now. So it's like, well, let's fire up the VPN and see if we can see it too.
Yeah.
See what's going on. And, I actually sent, because sometimes I've seen it before where a distribution company, music distribution, might screw up a date. And seeing how it was December 31st, and that's the end of, obviously the end of a year, that something might have dead-ended at that date when it was supposed to come out, say, January something, but it defaulted to the end of the year. And so I actually sent a message to Casey first, and I was like, hey, is this supposed to happen? And she got back to me just a little later, and she's like, and I don't know if she was like hesitant, but she was like, yep, okay. Basically, like, yeah, it's good to go, but thanks for checking in, because she's probably seen that happen before too. Mm-hmm. And then then I sent an email to Jeff, and he's like, okay, let me send you the lyrics and the sound files real quick. So he sent me the link to grab all those, and then I plowed away. I had some lyrics that Paul and I put together along with one other person, just to like get 99% of them, just to have a template. And then so when Jeff sent the other stuff, I went through and corrected anything to be corrected and dropped the other sound file in, and I was up for 16 hours doing that ridiculousness just to make sure that it was like not going to be messed up.
Well, and I think that's a good transition to point out. So as usual, Bruce obviously has heard the whole OST because he had to do lyric videos. Thank you for doing those for us. You did the same last time. And then Paul has also heard the whole thing because I'm too much
of a fanboy to wait. Basically.
Yeah, basically. I was going to give a more technical answer than that, but you didn't have to self-report, but I appreciate that you did. so the rest of us have not heard the full OST yet. We specifically didn't listen to it, which was really hard because I'm at a point in my work right now where I can listen to music the whole time, and it sucked to not be able to. So yes, this will be fresh reactions from most of us, and then of course more technical details probably from second or third or 95th listens from Paul and Bruce. So
right,
a good balance, a good mix.
So the playlist is going to be I hate when it does that. There we go. So the playlist is going to be the new tunes, and then I don't know how many. I know obviously I've heard it, but has everyone heard the closing credits friend that played, or probably didn't pay much attention at the end of the thing, at the end of watching the
final episode? No, I didn't.
Okay. So
I specifically was not listening. Sterling and I were together. I think we specifically avoided it specifically.
Yeah, right. So it's going to go through all those, and then there was a maybe it was 30 seconds, Paul, something like that, of Awake, which was a tune actually by OK Goodnight that was used within an episode. But the full tune is here, so we'll do that one. And then the remix we're not going to bother with, because
Okay.
Remixes are great, but we've already heard the remix of things many times over, or the original, and that's what we're more concerned with is what's going on, not just who
He
did
said no
what
bass for
differently.
you.
It's fine. It's fine. I got my own bass. Damn, no.
Wait,
It's
what?
okay. What? Huh?
That's his all-time
Some
favorite.
people think cucumbers taste better pickled.
Jesus. Anyway,
God
okay.
damn, Bruce.
So I think-
Wow.
I think with that,
God.
that seems like a great time to not talk anymore and listen to things. Holy smokes. All right.
Haven't heard that in a while.
I know, right?
Wow. All right. So we ready?
Had that one sitting loaded up for a while, ready to use.
All
All right, so here we go.
No
So
time has passed.
is everyone good?
Yep. You want to go ahead and introduce
Yeah,
us
just
for the-
just before we listen to it, just a quick one about this. I after listening to the full version of this, I had like a complete flip reversal on what genre I think this song fits into. So bear that in mind
Okay.
when you listen to it, because obviously I don't pay that much attention until the soundtrack comes out. So I'll have only heard the intro when I've watched the episodes. So 13, 14 times. And there was a lot said about the style and the genre of this intro, and I think they're completely wrong when you listen to the whole thing.
Oh, very cool. Okay. I'm excited.
So not bluegrass.
And then we're going to talk at the end about subgenres and metal, which could go on for about 45 minutes.
That's fine. I'm
Oh,
help
God.
too. We've got at least 3 people here who are going to be extremely not helpful to
So what you're
end that
saying is this
conversation.
will be another 3.5 hour review.
I mean, it was only 2.5
course.
last time. Let's not be ridiculous.
That's why I grabbed the juice.
he said he's on it. That's good because this
No,
code's going to run out.
Cheryl,
Oh, okay. I got you.
Cheryl, the last video was 3.5 hours.
Oh, was it? I don't remember. It was like I was
change people.
pretty drunk
was
by the end of that
a
last
beast.
video. I'm not gonna lie.
So
Yeah,
We were in the panini hard. I had never seen RWBY. This is the first OST react I've had watching RWBY. So what?
and this is why it was 3.5
Welcome
hours.
to the cash up.
Okay.
Okay,
so
I
here we
tried.
go.
Bye. Let's go.
All right, so I want to count it down because I want to embed this later, so where it's not being like recorded as part of a thing right now. So and 3, 2, 1.
Damn, that's cool.
There's your twinkly synths, Cheryl.
Well, that bass tone is gnarly already.
This is my favorite.
It's definitely been
Absolute
remixed and
favorite.
remastered.
Get it, Casey. Every time.
God, these chords are tasty.
Bingo.
Tick one on the bingo
Yeah,
card.
that's definitely bingo.
All right, here we go.
So here's the new section.
A key change.
Shock.
Gotta get like 10 of them. Christ.
This was what sealed it for me on the genre.
So it's so tasty.
And we love a half cadence finish. Love it.
It's just ridiculous.
Love it.
Go ahead, Paul. Let's go ahead and do it.
So, well, first things first. I went back and listened to the high quality audio that Jeff sent you when the premiere dropped, Bruce.
Yeah.
And that's definitely been remixed and remastered. Because that bass was not like that.
It wasn't
in the original.
I had a feeling.
Yeah. So that's when you were talking before, Bruce, about if we weren't sure whether it was supposed to drop or not. When I heard that, it was clearly a different version to what we'd had in the intro.
Your genre take.
Yeah. So well, I want to hear what everyone else thinks, because when it first came out, everyone was, "Oh, Jeff's gone prog," blah blah blah. But go on. What do you think? Pay attention to the solo. That's what.
Well, let's ask the.
I want to hear.
Let's hear the prog masters.
Yeah, I want to hear his opinion
Let's
first.
pause for a sec.
What?
Is that me?
Hold on a second. Wait.
Cheryl wants to keep going. Emergency.
Okay, hold on.
Please hold.
Yeah, we'll put a cut right here. Hold on.
Do you guys need help?
No, you can keep going. We got.
No, that's not how that works. But no, well, wait a minute. I'll be right back.
One eternity later.
Matthew, genre, this song. What's up?
Well, so I mean, it is like the chords, the chord choices in the chorus and that bridge were super, super proggy. And then a lot of the rest of the song are straightforward. So it's like a 40-60, like 40% prog and 60% whatever Paul's plot twist is. So I'm willing to say, like, I'm willing to call it like prog power. Like, it's not power metal at all. Well, it is power metal.
It's a little technical too.
Like,
a little bit.
Yeah. So I'll just say like prog power, because that's like the nice halfway point. Like, to me, it feels like the proggy parts sound like Arch Echo, and just everything that they do. And then the power metal parts just kind of do their own thing. It's like this like American power metal style that I can't find a comparative band, but that's
that guitar solo. That guitar solo to me had like a Steve Vai almost kind of influence in parts of it, to me at least. Just the solo at least in terms of how
I know jack nothing about guitars, so I have nothing to add for that.
It's funny.
Sorry.
When I remember seeing a video of them at RTX one time, and they were asking them what stuff they listened to a lot, and they were kind of evasive about their answer, but I think one thing both Casey and Jeff mentioned was Protest the Hero. There's a little bit of that, and there's some of that in there for sure. A little, I can feel, not like exact, but like that's the first thing I thought of when I heard this. It was like, I remember when they said a thing about Protest the Hero, and I feel that a little bit.
Actually, I would be willing to say that a lot of the stuff that wasn't super proggy sounds very Coheed. I'd be comfortable with that. So,
which I think that feeds
like,
into your power. Yeah, like, because that's a sort of, that's an adjacent genre to that for sure. Cool. What do you think? Okay, Paul, now I want to know. Now I'm curious. Let's go.
So, specifically the chorus and the guitar solo, the groove and the guitar, it's fusion.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's pure fusion. It's what it is, and I can't hear it as anything else now.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't hear it as weird time. I just hear it as a fusion groove.
In my defense, I literally forgot that genre even existed until you said it. So yeah, that's...
Well, is there a fusion metal genre, or is Jeff?
I mean, there is definitely that. It's like a thing. Like,
I mean, that's just prog these days.
Yeah, it's a
prog
type
is
of-
just
right.
kind of enveloped fusion.
that's certainly the granddaddy of. We don't
Yes.
get to prog before we. Yeah.
Math and
Jeff said-
fusion brought about prog in a lot of ways.
Jeff's a fantastic melodic player when
Yes.
it comes to guitar.
I
solos.
like that melodic stuff a lot because one of my biggest personal influence love bands of my high school days is the Mars Volta Always, especially that first album. And there's so much stuff in there with John Frusciante like doing his thing, and Flea on bass where everything is so melodic but also very rhythmic. And so yeah, I love that kind of stuff always. Similarly, What about you?
Can you turn that around? We're not sponsored.
Okay.
I was gonna. All right, yeah.
I'm looking at the feed and I'm like,
I
I
was
can
waiting
literally
for
read that
you to
from
jump
here.
in. Literally anything. What do you got?
wow.
You've heard it more. Maybe not more than Paul, but you've heard it more than us.
Nothing.
obviously.
You're so jaded. You have no comments.
No, well, see, I'm not listening to like genres and stuff specifically. It's like for me, it's layers and tone qualities and things like that. So
Right.
whatever setup he was using for the bass EQ and bass effects and where that's balanced at, I really like that. Even being somebody who plays bass instruments that are acoustic, like even in like orchestra stuff like that, I want it to be present so it's balanced. But if it's not a solo, it doesn't need to be out front, obviously. So the fact that was as low as it was, because that's got to be a 5-string that he's messing with, but or somewhere around there, or at least a bigger gauge string is what it sounds like, playing. It comes through clearly without being muddy, and that's what I like about it. On that kind of stuff. And then it fills out.
It's still
Yeah. No, it resonates. It's not this completely dry. It's not just clank and rhythm, a la Korn. There's a note to it. It's not just a drop A that you're like smashing with your hand just to make some kind of third drum part with.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just the way it's done, I really like the way it's done. So that's kind of where I come from when I'm listening to stuff or thinking about it.
What you got, Goose?
Well, I just finished Volume 8 this morning, and so hearing this full version after hearing it, just like what I think I watched the last 6 episodes, and then hearing this, it definitely does not sound proggy to me anymore either. Like, I don't. It's I didn't think I have the word, but yeah, fusion definitely. I don't hear it as prog. I was originally. And then now it doesn't sound like it to me anymore. I just also like a lot of the orchestral music that I listen to as well is very much has a lot of mixed meter and stuff. So like the idea of it being a specific genre, even the orchestral world, a lot of the genres are smashing together now. So thanks to a lot of film music being more listened to on a regular basis, you have a lot of things being thrown together. And Hans Zimmer has been a lot of that too, which is not necessarily my favorite composer, but
you can respect the game at least.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No, what he's done has been influential, and so I'm used to hearing different things thrown together, and someone like, oh, it's this. I'm like, I mean, it's got flavors of that. Yeah, that's definitely a spice in the mix, but that's not what the dish is.
Yeah.
So,
just because it has a shakuhachi in it doesn't mean all of a sudden it's Japanese traditional music.
right? Yeah, no, that's fair.
Get the. You are wrong. You are wrong. That is not what my college professor said. You are wrong.
The Last Samurai is traditional Japanese music.
Wow. Harsh but
I
fair
really
take.
don't have an
my
opinion
I
on
know.
that.
Well, I want to talk for a second about this, like in the context of RWBY, in a couple different ways. I think the low-hanging fruit comparison here is obviously Volume 3 for a couple of reasons. I think it's a little bit of a genre departure from the usual things, just a little bit. Like it's still,
Bingo card.
Yay.
Genre departure.
You're
There it is.
welcome. Dang, and I forgot what the bingo card was even, because I was, anyway.
Yep.
I think it feels, not only in that sense, but also, it's, what I like is going back and listening to the full openings after I've seen the whole season to be like, how much foreshadowing was actually in these lyrics? And the answer to this one is all of it. It was all of it. Literally just, that's volume 8. Like, this is what we're getting. So, so I liked that, because I felt like I knew this volume was gonna hurt because of its like the relationship and how close it is to the volume 3 opening. I was like, well, that one sucks. This is certainly also going to suck in terms of like what happens to our characters. And I feel like that's what happened.
So the weird twist to that too, though, is all the lyrics that are foreshadowing things weren't written until after the show's done.
Yeah. But
so
of course,
you know, so there's a weird like twist to that. So
of course.
So yeah, I mean, and I'm not saying that in a negative way, but like it's definitely one of those things where you write something and then you see, you know, how everything plays out. I mean, which obviously they've seen how it plays out long before anyone else, because they have to write score and, or, you know, Jeff may not write, let's say, the actual score, you know, consistently, but he's still kind of managing that process or helping with that, let's say, right? I mean, whether that's true or not, that's kind of the general rule. I still have this bloody rag in my hand from earlier. So anyway,
spoilers.
Jeez.
True. So, but yeah, so, but in hindsight, even if you had an idea of like, okay, this is something I want to do, then it's also one of those things of like, oh, well, that's right. I can't, let me do this and let me do that and whatever. So, I know some people might listen to a tune that might be 30 seconds of something in the show, like, oh, that's talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
And it may or may not be. But once the show is done with and they've seen everything and everyone knows how everything plays out, he can then choose to reinforce
add it in
what people are like thinking it is, or be like, yeah, that's not really what it's supposed to be. So let me vague this up a little bit just to make sure that people aren't like focusing on one thing or whatever. Anyway, that's
I feel like, well, and I feel like that first verse for sure alluded to a lot of stuff anyway. The second verse obviously dials it in lyrically, but I'm thinking about like Choose the Wrong Side. We had this whole fight between, you know, the teams about which the best way to handle this and how, and then it turns out everyone was wrong because everything was going wrong, and that kind of thing, and it was good. So that leads me, I have a question. Do you know, and you might not know this, Bruce, does Jeff get to see the title animation before he writes the song? Or does that come later? Does that match his lyrics? Or do they happen totally independent of each other? The opening, just alone.
Oh, you mean, okay, just when
like, does he get video to work with? Because a lot of times it references things that kind of, especially this one more than ever, kind of referenced.
I don't know. That might be that might change at times.
Okay,
so I'm not sure
curious.
if it's now really good animators. Even some independent guys that I've talked to before who are animators, they will animate stuff to a click track. So they're going like, okay, so I'm going to animate, but I'm going to set a tempo of 160 just to pick one, right? So
Seems low for Jeff, but okay.
Well, no, I mean just in general. I'm going to pick a tempo of 160, and I'm going to make sure that key moments of things happen on the downbeat of a click. Now that could be 8 beats or 7 beats or 6 beats or whatever, but I'm going to make sure that key moments in the animation happen right on this click or that click. So then when a composer or someone writing music is later, it's like, look, so here's the tempo you have to work with. So you know how many measures you have until this thing happens if you want to integrate highlighting that within something. Maybe that's a process that they use as well. You know, like the animators might be choosing like a tempo, or they might consult and be like, hey, you know, what's something you feel like you want to write, and then they kind of make sure that matches up. Or it could go the other way where, you know,
I also wanted to just, or on the topic of foreshadowing, I chuckle whenever I listen to the chorus just because also from a musical perspective, there's absolutely no resolution, or no concrete resolution when it comes to the whole setup of the chorus. All of like most of your chords are cluster chords that don't ever resolve nicely, and the chorus ends on a half cadence, so you never hit tonic at the end of the chorus in just a nice clean fashion. And with that kind of swing vibe that you, Paul, were talking about, and how it runs like a weird like triplet 7/4, shenanigans. It doesn't always feel exactly on the thing, because every like chord wise it's shiesty, time wise it's shiesty, and it doesn't ever resolve. There's no resolution. I think that's also like a nice, not subtle nod that if you wanted to read into that, you could be like, oh, everything's just not okay or going to get resolved.
Yeah.
Which is what makes the solo even better.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, and sometimes some of that stuff is happy accidents. Like some of the things that I've put together or written or even edited video wise, where you don't realize, like you try and make it fit, but you weren't really sure, and then it's not really what you wanted, but you go ahead and review it, and then you realize, oh wait, but like 9 other things line up that I didn't know lined up. So this actually is better than I thought. So
sanctimonious.
So shiesty is now going to be added to the bingo list by somebody.
Shiesty.
Yeah.
I like it.
I wanted to ask just the panel. Was there any like change in compositional style or like how things happened? Because I feel like, especially after listening to OK Goodnight's debut like album EP, and then listening to this in like time order, this song feels very much like a variant of something OK Goodnight would write on their own. And I was wondering if there was like any more involvement with Jeff, but like between Jeff and Casey and whoever writes with Casey.
Okay, so the only thing that I know, because I actually asked, and this is months and months ago, I actually asked Jeff specifically about the OK Goodnight thing. Like, how did that happen? It was like they just happened to have something that seemed like it fit really well, and so instead of doing something new or what have you, we kind of thought about doing that, and then put the kiddos at OK Goodnight into like contact with Rooster Teeth, like for the, obviously there's rights and other things and whatever's that have to happen, just normal business stuff, but in order to do that. But I do know that one of the guys that's in OK Goodnight like helped with some sections of score and composition.
Sure. Oh,
because there instead of it just being Alex, there was like 3, maybe 4 people total-ish. I mean, I'm really vague on that because I don't know exact numbers, but like 3 or 4 people that all contributed to okay, well, this guy's going to write this section right here, and I'm going to go ahead and take care of this, and this scene he's going to go ahead and take care of. So it's not that it was farmed out, it's just there's like a logistics of, cool, so you've got this scene, or we want something different, and you got a good idea, so why don't you go ahead and you're going to do like a more of an electronic thing for this part of something, and whatever. So there might have been some influence there too, with because the guy from OK Goodnight that I think made the leap over to help with some of those. He's a Berkeley guy too. So, and then Alex is there obviously, and Jeff teaches there and whatever. So I'm sure they
sounds like some Berkeley shit.
Yeah. And that's lovingly. I mean, because like there are people who are not Jeff, Casey, or Alex that all of us or most of us know someone who went to Berkeley, or we've worked with someone that went to Berkeley.
Right.
So it's music's a small world. So when we say Berkeley shit, it's the same. It's in a loving nature because.
Right.
Or we just hear bands that were born in music universities that make it out of music universities. Exactly. They've all got a little something extra, but it's the same something.
Yes,
so
I agree.
I don't know.
So
real quick, I have not listened to the OK Goodnight, so I don't know the answer to that question because I've been saving that. But I want to talk about Casey's vocals too.
Oh yeah.
She has like settled real good in that mezzo though. I love it. It's like that second verse especially was meaty as hell. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. All of her post volume 4 stuff, like just the whole journey she's done though, when she's really kind of settled into her voice, she gets that growl going and shit. Like, I love it. I was so excited for this particular opening specifically because I loved her vocals so much on it, and she just absolutely slays. It's amazing. I love it.
It's very stable.
Yeah.
The whole, all the lines. Not that like studio magic doesn't take out how like supported or breathy you are on a line necessarily, but it's all very clearly like well supported. There's an unexplainable comfort that you hear in the voice.
Mm-hmm.
What comes with that comfort, and this is just a me thing, this is not a critique, this is a like more sprinkles on top. I want some damn reverb in the vocals. I want like a little bit of like space, because something I noticed about this and then retroactively like everything that they've done is that all of their vocal lines are very precise. Like there's no echo. Like studio wise, it's perfectly like, I don't know, it's all very precise, and that's a vocal style, and it's super effective for this because they're lyric heavy songs and everybody wants to hear every word with or without subtitles, so it serves its purpose perfectly. And I'm somebody who listens to Power and Frog, where there's like all kinds of fuck shit on a vocal line, so I would, especially with those harmonies, like you could really build it into a cavernous, dramatic, like enclave of voices, but it's very snipped on purpose. So
yeah,
again, like excellent vocals would love reverb.
Yeah, and there is a little bit, but it's just because that's pretty standard. Just put a tiny bit on, just to give a little bit of body. Right. The thing I've noticed about her vocals is she has naturally, from everything I've ever seen, like just watching her sing and stuff, what people use saturation to try to achieve in her voice. Like it's very broad, like not even the compression of it necessarily. And her stuff is, obviously the vocal engineering on all their stuff is very distinctly them. Like you said, there's very definite choices, but I think they get away with a lot of those choices because of how cool her voice is.
Agreed. I agree.
It's hard sometimes, like, because I think you kind of always want to put the same shit on somebody's voice, or like you learn some tricks and you're like, I'm going to apply this trick to everybody I have to do stuff with now because this sounded so good. But you have to kind of know, where their range is to be able to make that work. And they dialed that in early. And it's interesting to me that they've maintained the same sort of feel, even as her voice has changed, just as she's like just naturally grown up.
Exactly.
And it's very consistent.
It's consistent. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's why it has snuck in how good her resonance and stuff in her lower register has become.
Resonance is what I wanted to also talk about, because most of her vocals, at least in this song, are like without very, like there's full body there, but there's not a lot of like vibrato. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much of that studio magic or how much of like she naturally is just built at like a working pants sound. Like you've got all the meat you need without like the kind of natural want to let it open up. That's a
style choice that is very popular in most melodic music in the last 5 years or so. Very few pop singers and very few like alternative rock kind of singers, unless they have a very specific kind of voice, do heavy vibrato anymore. It just doesn't. That has fallen out of style for popular singing.
Oh yeah, I know.
So yeah, for better or for worse. I think sometimes it's good, sometimes not so much. But certainly, the Taylor Swifts and things of the world that don't have a lot of resonance in their voice have used that to their advantage. And I think that has just slowly kind of creeped in and taken everything over. So I wonder how much that's influenced, or if that's just where she's comfortable. I mean, because we know she can do anything. So
I wonder. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot of vibrato, I think. I hope I'm not crucified for this one, but I don't think there's a lot of vibrato in the OK Goodnight stuff either. So,
I don't think there was much vibrato in there. There was more reverb in that album than
a lot more. And I think it was nice there. So I mean, all in all, we're poking and prodding at a phenomenal instrument. Casey's voice is really like age is like fine wine, and I think it's only going to get better over the next volumes. So
I agree, 100%.
If we're talking about resonance, that's what makes Jeff's backing vocals the way they are.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible in all registers, not just in the low registers. The reason those high ones poke through with so much power, it's all about the resonance that you can get.
He sounds
yeah.
like six
Yeah.
different people
Ridiculous.
on one track sometimes. It's
It's
amazing.
ridiculous. Listen, I've spent 15 months trying to recreate it, and it's like,
Well, you're doing
How's that
it.
working out for you?
oh mate,
Yeah.
mate, it's unbelievable. I've isolated it and I've listened to it in detail, and it's all resonance. It's just phenomenal.
it's wild stuff. I
mean-
wonder if he's the resonant type to either just have a big fucking head and like just have cavities everywhere, or if his mouth opens up like 10,000 degrees to be able to like do
Yeah.
all that shit. Who the fuck knows?
And that's the one thing that you can't fudge in the studio
No, you
Mhm.
can't.
yet. You know,
Right.
there's no plugins for that yet. You can tune people to the hilt, but you can't recreate that. And the other crazy thing, I still can't work out whether he uses Casey in the backing vocals as well, because their timbres so ridiculously similar.
It's
It's
Oh,
so
yeah.
different but so similar at the same time. I mean, there's lines
From what
in songs where they both sing at the same time, but it will take you 6
Oh,
months
yeah.
to realize that they're both singing
from
because
what I
it's that
understand,
crazy close.
he just does all the background vocals, and she doesn't do any background vocals. Or I mean, and there's always probably exceptions to that rule, but just from what I
For the
know
most part.
in the in conversation, and then, but I do know that he sings when he sends a scratch track. He's singing her part in her octave at her
Yeah.
whatever as the example scratch track, and then he
Of
might.
course he is.
And they might change things from there or adjust things or figure out a better mousetrap or something like that. But that's kind of the I think Casey told us that, and that she might have
Yeah,
said that
she
in that
did.
interview.
I think
I think
Jeff
Jeff-
mentioned
Jeff
something about
told
that
us
too
as
in a
well.
live
Yeah, he did.
stream we did.
Because
Alright.
he was threatening to send us the demos, wasn't he? He
Yes.
said they were on a different PC or something.
Yeah.
Um,
Paul and I were immediately like, we know where that came from.
Yeah.
Because we were losing our shit that day.
Yeah, no, but I think Casey did mention it as well. I think they've both said it at one point or another.
moving on.
Last
or-
thing I just wanted to say,
Okay.
not for a full discussion point, but those bridge chords were insane.
Oh, well, do you know the thing? No, we can't not talk about the bridge because it's fucking ridiculous. You got 7 key changes, and get your bingo cards ready. A big chromatic walk down. But the big thing for me, the big thing, he's spent what, like 8 albums now just fucking with your expectation of what chords are supposed to do. And this bridge lyrically is like the lowest ebb of the whole series, and he ends it on a big major triad.
Yeah, it's wild.
You can just keep walking around a 205 to a 5 of 5 to a 5 of 6 to a 6 of 3. I mean, just figure it out. It's, you'll figure it out. Just keep borrowing.
But it was
keys.
flawless.
Yeah, you just keep borrowing enough, and you'll figure it out eventually. Or you'll scrap the whole thing and be like, "I got lost."
You'll borrow your way back to the original key.
Eventually, eventually you make it back.
Is
to
great.
that,
one, I
how,
think.
is that how that works? Man, I've been doing this wrong my whole life.
Dude, you only need 4 chords. Come on.
Right.
Cheryl. Yeah. You can't be mad.
Look.
Moving
Is he
on.
wrong?
Okay.
Or
Moving on. I'm okay with that, yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
all right.
Yeah, and I think a lot of this stuff we talked about, it's going to go faster just because that was a lot of like Ruby music. So now we can.
Yeah. Everyone.
We're back.
Everyone geeked out of everything as much as they could. All right. So.
Oh, it's been good.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Damn, that's
I mean,
cool.
it worked for
Sure.
Sterling, so.
Right? Rest in peace, Sterling.
Yeah. Right.
Pouring
no,
out for him,
he's not.
Cheryl.
That's why he's not here. All right.
We're not saying it.
All right, so Sky is Falling is the next one, which this one has Lamar Hall in it as well, first section.
Okay.
Yay.
Everyone good?
Mm-hmm.
All right, here
Mhm.
we go. 3, 2, 1.
There's the Van Halen groove.
All right, yeah.
Which of the however many fights was this a part of?
All
It
of
was-
them?
it's where Oscar got nicked by the
Chasing.
Hound, I think.
Sounds like a grim fight.
I do have a bit of trivia about this for later.
Look at that chromaticism. That's a long line, damn. Chill, try singing that without breathing.
No thanks.
Love that. Dirty.
Oh boy.
Lost all my hopes and dreams. Watch my life flash by in scenes, and it seems there's no soul on the video screen. But I'm green, trying to figure out what all of it means. Staring at the casket, hoping to move past it, knowing things will never be the same. And that's it. Clothes soaked as I stand in the rain, feeling nothing but pain until I see you again. Feel the waves crash loud and hard. Oh God, lost control. I think I'm gonna lose it. All my sanity's slipping away. Oh Lord, press record. I die without the music. Each breath is closer to my death. Except that which is this life is none left. Let my demons live born through my legacy. Study my pedigree. I need therapy.
Fuck you, Jeff.
I know, right? Jeez. The whole thing I can think during the
At the
solo
end.
thing.
Right at the end.
How many notes can I throw in at the end just to sprinkle? He's literally just sprinkling notes, just
What is
like
that tag? Right.
So
Why?
real quick, this is the
because
It's like the guitar equivalent of some John Williams flute rips, isn't it?
right, exactly.
Dropped in.
No,
all
well,
over
it's
the place.
it's flute and glockenspiel and Kutali. You got to make sure you get all three of those together. That's his thing.
dang.
It pops up quite a lot actually in other things as well. Normally it's weird because it's in a lower register, but it kind of has the same function as those.
Anybody else find it like an easy trick, but a good one that like we talk about like things falling and that we just like all of our chromatics just go down?
I
That's
mean,
easy. It's easy, but it's good.
yeah, I was hoping for it, and I wasn't disappointed, and I don't care.
There's something to be
No,
said.
no.
Yeah, there's something to be said about like fulfilled expectations. Like that chord going down on lives in the chorus. I knew it was coming. I still loved it. It was right. It like
Yep.
because sometimes Jeff will do things and you're like, I wasn't expecting that, but that was excellent. But this time he did exactly what I expected, and it was great. And I
Yeah, we
loved
were
it.
wanting it, and we are like, oh, he did it, but in a Jeff way. We're like, oh, there it is.
When it comes to Lamar's stuff, I didn't have lyrics for that. So myself and Lucifer Crow on Twitter ended up like parsing that out and like second guessing each other like for a good hour, like trying to. And I even took certain vocal lines because we were trying to like come up with a template so that things wouldn't be, we'd have most of it done and we could make small changes if needed, for stuff. And so I actually ran it through software to extract just the vocal parts from things to see if I could hear stuff better. And so, but yeah, so we never actually got lyrics for that, but that was just what we had figured out. And after listening to just the isolated vocal thing like 15 times in a row and like trying to, I assume it's correct. If it's not correct, then it's probably missing by like one word or something, or instead of.
It seemed correct from what I was hearing.
Well, yeah. I mean, so it's like, so there might be something in there, I don't know, where it's supposed to be affect instead of effect or something,
Oh, gotcha.
There might be something like that, or there might be an apostrophe S that's not there. I don't know, but just I'm throwing that out there because I didn't actually get stuff for that, but I
you did the best you could with what you had.
Well, I mean,
you did the best you could. Comments, calm the fuck down.
No, I mean,
exactly.
Well, no one was complaining about it. It's just one of those things where it's like, you go through and you do something and you realize, oh crap, we gotta like, it's like, I thought I would have an answer key after I took the test, and it's like, there's no answer key, so we need to like double down again and figure it out.
Exactly.
So hopefully it's right, but and there's not a lot of tunes, or there's not a lot of original tunes on this OST, and people have pontificated about that too, and super early on, like when the episodes were still coming out, he had mentioned the fact that there's, you can only write for what there's space for.
Yeah.
So if everything is really dialogue heavy and there's not like these fight scenes or chase scenes that are kind of always happening that are long and last long enough to factor in some kind of partial tune of some kind or a special event, then you can't bully your way into the animator's office and be like, you need more space here because I need to crank out something else.
Every episode can't be a montage.
Well, and I think this season, this volume in particular was very front loaded with the music. It felt like to me, like it felt like we burned through in the first 6 or 7, chapters.
Because things
most
got really
of the
dialogue
songs.
heavy as it went along more. Probably.
Yeah.
And so then there wasn't much going on because I know we were all kind of like, okay, is there going to be a song in this one? And then we were like, okay, this showed up in episode 4. Okay, because this one was, I think, maybe 3 or 4. I can't remember because it's been a hot minute. But
it's quite early.
Yeah, and then I think almost everything is, so.
How many original songs are there in this OST?
5, maybe.
But is Friend
really?
on it, technically?
Well, Friend is one, but that's one that's always fleshed out for a closing credit kind of scenario.
Right.
Yeah.
But you don't want filler.
No.
Yeah, I mean, you also it's not always the rule, but I think any team that tries to make a completely new soundtrack every season, or like even if you have like character themes, if you try to make a new character theme every season, is like just a little bit too like try hard to the point where it's not useful for time.
It leads to madness, Yeah,
we have 7 volumes of like original or mostly original music. Any composer should be allowed to like, nope, like I wrote the song that would fit here. I'm just gonna click play and just sit back and let it self-play. So every now and again, I think you should be allowed to like write less than normal, especially if you have history, like musical history within a show. So
I want to.
It's not like there's a huge team either,
Right.
Yeah.
From what we understand, from a writing, producing, mixing, mastering point of view, it's pretty much just Jeff. So
yeah,
that's a mammoth task, and it's not his job. It's like, he's got a full-time job. This is a labor of love.
True.
Yeah.
He's still a college professor. Yeah.
Absolutely. One of the things I want to talk about Lamar for a second, because Lamar does a thing that I didn't really notice until this song, and then I went back and thought about all the other songs of Lamar that I've listened to. Lamar is very, very, very good at getting the feel of the song emotionally, kind of going back to what you were saying, and his flow adapts depending on that. So I think back to Ignite, where he is just fucking rapid fire, doesn't miss a beat. It is just brrr, like it is so goddamn good. This song reminds me of War in a way where there's several times where I'm like, this is going off the fucking rails. Like, it's heavily percussive. I'm like, I don't know. Like, Jeff it's starting to, and then it corrects, but you're always just like, well, this feels a little bit loosey-goosey. Like, I don't know what we're doing. It feels like it's, Runaway Train.
Mm-hmm.
And his flow in that was exactly that. It was a little bit lazy in places, so you felt like, is that, no, okay, he landed it. Like, and I think but he's done that before in songs.
Right.
But like on Caffeine, he's dead on like, and I think that's a choice. Like in Caffeine, his flow is a lot more swag, the way Team Coffee is, as opposed to he's all yang on Ignite, and he's real chill on the Volume 7 song. And it's like, he is so good at adapting that way, and that's a gift as a rapper. That's just dope.
An instinct. I thought
Yeah.
he sounded like Linkin Park the whole song, and I mean that as a compliment.
Yeah, I did have a very, very, very heavy influence like that, yeah.
So Paul and I have had this conversation. And let's see, I'm trying to find the timestamp here. So when he's in the middle of everything, and so in the tune you get to like 2 minutes 35 seconds. That's where he's going through, staring at the casket, hoping to move past it. Nothing will, or knowing things will never be the same, and that's it. And there's kind of that cutoff, and then he starts kind of like a secondary section. But that secondary section, like, you can tell it's building, like cold soaked as I'm standing in rain, feeling nothing but pain until I see you again. But when it gets to the section, feel the waves crash loud and hard, oh God, lost control, think I'm going to lose it. Like, so the way that's set up, I messaged Paul and I was like, I can't get this out of my head. It's not that it's from something, but this sounds, in the grand consciousness, group consciousness, this sounds exactly like the same push as something else. And he actually said, well, is it like Linkin Park? Like that's
it's in the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yep. In the end. Yep.
So
it's literally like same vibe.
Right. So, but that wasn't the tune that was stuck in my head. And it's like, I know that tune and I see it, but I can't, and I still haven't figured out 100% what it was that I was thinking of. But the closest thing that I kind of ran into was, there was, I don't think they're still around, but a long time ago, there was a punk band in Chicago, named Naked Ray Gun. And it was like garage band recordings. There's no bass. I mean, There is a bass player, but it's before people would actually like EQ things, or whatever.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of those really like shorter lines that were like really driving, but there was a melodic quality to it. It wasn't minor threat. It wasn't screaming into the mic in short bursts to do that. It was a little bit more melodic. But it wasn't as chromatic-ish, but it still had that same push to it. So, like, stuck in my head is this like, okay, so this is like Linkin Park meets Naked Ray Gun. Like, I'm gonna like, I'm pushing your head like through the wall to get you to understand, what I'm trying to say, kind of thing. So there was that kind of little bit where I was like, oh God, that's so cool. Like that, like the way that was delivered was so well done, and I couldn't put my finger on it for the longest. And I didn't find the Naked Ray Gun tune that was matching up like I thought it was. So it might be something where it's kind of
amalgamation in your head.
Yeah. Either that, or it's something that I've just haven't listened to in a long time, like something else. Yeah. I mean, growing up, my parents, a lot of people's parents are like, well, we don't want you watching that kind of movie, or we don't want you listening to that kind of music. My parents didn't give a shit of what I watched. As long as I wasn't being a psychopath, then it was just, it is what it is. Don't look at me like that. I can see you out of the corner of my eye. So,
it's peripherals.
It's that sibling energy right there.
It's very hot.
But like my favorite horror movie in the 6th grade was Hellraiser. Like, it was just so well done. Like, and it's just like, it's a good story. It's well done. It's completely out there compared to like your standard slasher flick, and all that kind of stuff. Like in like 5th grade, like I had Guar's first albums like in 5th grade,
This explains so much.
But that's just it.
Everyone now knows everything they need to know about Bruce.
Well,
right
yeah,
there.
but that's just
well,
it. It's like,
we knew Bruce and Guar were like
Well,
joined
And
at the hip.
besties, but that's fair because
But yeah, but at the same time, like at a young age, I was just like Suicidal Tendencies and Megadeth and all that kind of stuff too. But I was also listening to a bunch of hip hop and ska and whatever. I think the first 3 CDs I bought with my own money when like I got a CD player was Metallica, Anthrax, and Megadeth, right? But also the second group of CDs was like Primus, and
But Primus sucks.
they do.
correct. Yes.
And then like the first album I ever remember listening to, like a literal record, like that my parents owned, was Sly and the Family Stone. So from Sly and the Family Stone to Cannibal Corpse and everything in between, I'm all that's fair game. Like I'll listen to it. Let's see what it's about.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that this is stuck somewhere in my memory as something that that is like this sticks out, and I've just forgotten specifically what it is, and I might not figure it out for another year. I might be listening to a random CD from 30 years ago that I heard once and was like, that's the one. I don't know.
You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
In 3 months, he's going to post in the Music Share channel and be like, I found it with no context. And we're going to be like, you found fucking what? And then we'll listen to it and be like, oh, the thing.
Yeah.
The Lamar thing.
Yeah. Like, I found it.
Yeah.
So, but
any other thoughts on this
great.
one?
Yeah. Just still on the Lamar stuff. It's great how the accompaniment feeds back as well.
Yes.
The piano's perfect. And Ignite, the trumpets are perfect. Caffeine, the driving snare rolls are perfect.
Yeah, the piano, this is very much
probably,
a less is more.
Yeah.
Hitting the chords just at the right time,
That's a true partnership between them.
Yeah, and it is. And if you think about Ignite with the trumpets as well, that's an after the fact thing because the trumpets follow some of his lines, some of those staccato lines that
those were and those were players. That wasn't key.
Oh, you could tell. Yeah. You could tell all day.
Oh yeah.
But the keys in general, I mean, and this is true across a lot of the stuff. It's sparse, but it's just in the right places. Not just in the rap, but in the song as well, just to highlight the chords because you can't do it with distorted guitars a lot of the time. You can't highlight these interesting chords that Jeff wants to get across. So he uses the backing vocals to do it, but you have the keys that just poke out every now and then just to say, okay, this isn't, your average triad. There's something else going on here. And also, I think what you get as well, I think because he's a keyboard player, you get that push and pull with the beat. It's never on the downbeat. It's always either just before or just after, just to pull it back or push it along a bit where it needs to be done.
He loves to have big punctuations on the and of 4 or the and of whatever it's always the and before the downbeat. No matter how many beats are in the measure, he loves the to hit it just before the downbeat comes down.
Yeah,
a lot, and it's really nice.
And I think the backing vocals.
Pay attention, kid.
Go ahead.
No, just say pay attention. You don't always have to do it on the downbeat.
Yeah. And I think the guitars in this one and the way the drums are mixed, it feels very percussive, and I think that's why the keyboards and the backing vocals are so effective too. It's like you said, because it's like he knew how he wanted that stuff to feel. Because I mean, it's literally driving the song, and the song is literally about them driving, so it works out like it's like great. Like it's a good example of him really nailing the feel of what was going on at that time. Like it feels like a chase. This song feels that way. Like you're going. It's great. But I think that makes the keyboards more effective. The fact that the guitars are really just so percussive in this, because then they get to shine and bring it up.
It's quite stripped compared to, I know a lot of the earlier stuff is very much wall of sound. There's a hell of a lot going on all over the place. But I think certainly this album and maybe the one before as well, things are stripped back a little bit, but it's just mixed so well.
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
like he was like you bringing up a garage, like a kind of a garage band kind of style made me think of that, because that's when you think of a garage band, you think that the drums are fucking going and the guitars are fucking going and then like everybody else is on their own, but this is like that but mixed perfectly. Like this is actually, if you mix that shit the right way,
If someone actually mixed,
yeah,
like,
some cool shit from the late 80s
Yeah.
or early 90s, this is what it would be. It's a good feel.
the a funny site when you mentioned the trumpets and Ignite or whatever. There's an acquaintance of mine who is a trumpet player that lives in California. Before I ever knew what RWBY was, because I didn't watch RWBY until like Volume 6 was happening. Like that was actively happening when I first like heard some music from it and went to check it out and figure out where is this coming from. And then I recognized the RBWY from before, but I hadn't actually like watched any of it. And so I went and started at the beginning. So by the and I watched it all the way through and was like checking out different things and stuff like that. So I didn't get to Volume 6 until it was finished, but I started at the beginning when it was still going on. And so like to give a bit of a time frame here, but then like so an acquaintance of mine, Barbara, if I remember right, because I think I found this out later, Barbara played trumpet on that track because she was contracted, but I didn't know what RWBY was to ask that question. But, or whatever.
Yeah.
But she used to play. If I remember right, she used to play in there's an all-female big band called Diva that's like insanely like crazy good.
I love them.
And they've been around for years and years, and they've had different personnel come in and out, and obviously and stuff like that. But they've done tours or whatever. And she used to, if I remember right, she used to be one of the trumpet players in there as well and stuff like that. So if you get a chance, go check out. It's just all capital letters DIVA, big band. So if you type in Diva Big Band, you'll see like some live chunks of stuff and that's been recorded, or they've got albums I think too, but there's a lot more like live venue video and things like that. So you can kind of see some of those people who are out there in the world that get called in at randomly, like, hey, can you play this trumpet part real quick, or if I send you some stuff, can you lay this down in the studio at your house? I'm like, okay, sure, and just lay it down and send it in, and then it gets mixed down later, kind of stuff. But anything else on this one?
We good?
Not on this one.
Okay.
All right.
So the next one is Be Strong and Hit Stuff.
Pause.
Yeah.
I think they're back. I just heard noise. That's what I was saying.
Okay.
If we want to bring it back, let me just check. I'm not 100% sure, but I thought I heard
These are drummer
downstairs.
headphones, so I can't hear anything
Right.
outside of her voice and whatever's coming through the mix. So
12 seconds later.
all right, so here we go. Next one is Be Strong and Hit Stuff, which is the kind of the Ironwood fight that happens.
The Ironwood Oscar fight.
Which one? Yeah.
No, well,
Yeah,
like the one where they all
Emerald
gang up on him,
Winter.
Oh, gotcha.
and Emerald like
How rude.
impersonates Penny to like that whole like chunk.
Oh,
So
yeah.
this is the tune.
The Winter
everyone's-
fight is fresh in my memory.
right.
Yeah.
This is
That was a
like,
beast.
so this is like the section where or this particular tune, everyone was like waiting for this tune to be fleshed out more than any other, from what a lot of people seem to say and chime in on or
The
whatever.
Nora song?
Okay, so
Ish.
that's the debate. Is like it's
Controversial.
I know.
right?
That's why I said
So
it.
it's like so I guess the consensus for the majority of people is like it's Nora with a mix of Emerald's like switching sides ish kind of mentality, maybe all in one. But that's the thing, is like the tunes aren't canon in and of themselves ish, but they're supposed to just kind of augment the story or give like maybe some background to a situation, but they're not like, oh well, if Jeff said it, then that means the animators must have said make sure this happens. It's like that's not how it works either. So
I have a feeling if it was my controversial opinion on the controversies, I feel like if they were going to do a Nora song, there was another opportunity to do a Nora song that would have been a better one. So I think this is just bad bitches, which I am always behind. So
that's fair.
yeah,
All right, so here we go.
Bad bitches.
Yeah, I mean,
we stand. No choice but to.
That's fair. All right, so here we go. 3, 2, 1.
I'm pleased. I'm done.
Wow.
I'm good. This is my favorite.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to start like this.
No one's gonna break your heart with you. No one in this world is ever gonna have the strength it takes, the force to make the pride to take you down. Ain't nobody doubting you but you. Ain't nobody who don't believe in your greatness. We see what your fate is on your way. It's just
Or Sterling's not here for the ones and fives. Aw.
It's enough of him. He's fine.
all the pain you faced is no disgrace. You're made from all those scars. It's okay. In time you will grow. But that doesn't
Fuck you, Jeff.
you're not already whole. Mistakes that you've made will stay in the past.
Those lines are gross.
It's hard to focus on the lyrics because I'm just like,
It is. It is.
what chord are we ending on?
Who can say?
Still going. We're still going. We're still going.
Of course it is. Nice. Half tempo, just for the bingo card.
Yep.
Nice.
That was a chord choice. That pressure was weird.
I liked it.
Like the ping pong organ.
The tension.
Too elongated.
Yeah, that organ in the back is nice.
I can't work out if that's an organ with the backing vocals or a vocoder.
Good question.
It's both.
Yes. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
What is this line? Ooh, baby. That was nasty. I like that.
It's okay. In time you will grow. But that doesn't mean you're not already
All.
Those backing vocals.
Yeah.
that you've made will stay in the past. Redemption is yours if you follow that path. Oh, just hold on, stay tough, be strong and steadfast.
Gotta bring it back.
Oh!
What? All he was missing was a. It's all he was missing from that ending.
I was about to say, I wish that Jeff would actually sit on a breakdown for more than 2 measures before he goes on to something new.
He's
I
very
did.
good. He's very good
For
at them.
once.
I couldn't believe we got to where
At
we
the
were.
end.
I saw the time left on the bar and I was like, what? What is about
Yeah,
to
it's still
happen?
going. It's still going.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jeff is the reason why I've got eyes on getting another bass, but with a F sharp standard tuning, F sharp B E A D G, so a 6th string, but the bottom string is low F sharp.
Yeah, it'd be rough.
Below A0.
It'd be nasty.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's the whole reason why I'm like, the amount of times Paul's like, okay, so I've got the chart all chunked out, and here's, and so put a bass line to it, but here's the chords, and I'm like looking at B's, and he's like, oh wait, that's actually supposed to be an A flat. And I'm like, like it's like all but clanking. Yeah, it's all but clanking on the fret. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just like, you see the ticker go by and you're like, A flat or whatever, like,
yeah.
All right, cool. I'm just pasting that one thing. Let me put everything back
Go
up.
back up.
Yeah.
Yep.
But,
Exactly.
Or, I mean, just Bruce, solve your problems. Get a 12 string that just has all the notes you need.
No,
He said
Bite the
no.
bullet.
if I had a 12-string bass, I would just learn piano.
I saw Sarah and the Safe Word had a band open for them from somewhere in Tennessee that the bassist unironic, like absolutely killed a 12-string bass. It was ridiculous.
It was a war guitar.
It was crazy.
Oh, one of those. Holy shit.
Yeah, it was one of those. Because I talked to that guy. I remember that gig.
Yeah, I think you were. I couldn't remember if you were at that gig or not. It was at Smith's, I think.
So there was something about this tune too.
I have something too, but
It's
you go
gross.
ahead because my thing
Yeah,
is
it's
my thing is
gross.
more of a
That's
question
what
for
there is.
Paul, and I think he already knows what the question's probably going to be. So.
So there's a yeah, okay. So anyone that wants to search for it later, at the 44-second mark, there's all of the pain you faced, and the D is cut off into the graphic. That's me at 2:30 in the morning, like adjusting things and not seeing that until after I uploaded it, and I'm like, no, I'm done.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, who cares?
it can be cut off. I gotta go to bed. But yeah, the way that tune starts out, I saw several people that had reacted to the soundtrack, already. And this tune goes to play, and they start second guessing, like, wait, do I have the right one up? Like, and they look at it, and they look at the title, and they realize it's the right one, but it still sounds so different than what they thought it was going to be. At least for the intro or the beginning, that they were also like, I wonder if it's titled wrong. Like it was such a
Panic.
disjunct from what they expected, But like the way it starts out, I like how it builds up. It starts out.
Yeah, but the way it gets to the other part as well, it's seamless. It's not like
It's so amazing.
It's a big change.
It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
See, I would be much more willing to call this song fusion more so than the opening, because this one
Really?
there's like a wider pendulum swing
Mm-hmm.
between, I don't know, like
Well, look at the bookends. Yeah, look at the bookends.
inspired breakdowns and like pop, I don't know, electro pop groove. Like this one
I
sounds
hate
like
that.
a fusion tune to me.
Electro pop groove.
I hate
We got
that.
a new one for Cheryl. That's
So-
Cheryl's new thing.
So you're saying this is fusion in the same way the Rippingtons is fusion.
Yes, yeah, it's kitchen. It's one of the few kitchen sink things that I don't dislike. But it's smooth. I mean, Paul said it first, and it's true. It is somehow too cohesive to sound bad. I think if a lot of people were to try to do this, it would sound disjunct.
Absolutely.
Or it would sound like it would sound like a really good attempt every time, but it wouldn't always hit home. But this hits home. I'm impressed.
You would hear the switches where it goes from like style to style would be very, very like, oh, here's the new style. Like bar lines. You could do it by bar line very easily.
Yeah.
Very much.
This one's as I was listening to it, we got past that intro, which first of all, that intro is diabolically excellent. Like I can't with those synths.
All of us were like,
those pads are so good. So I was thinking, I think this is top 10 for me all time RWBY maybe. And then by the time we got to the end, I'm like, no, this is probably top 5. This is that good to me. I love how I love it when Jeff takes a swing and you're like, this should not work. It just shouldn't, especially with that intro, and yet it does, because those keys are there the whole time, just different levels of quietly in the background.
Guitar,
it's so good.
and that guitar is running almost the whole time.
yeah, that was
It's
gross.
sprinting.
It's everything about this is so good. It's so good. I love it.
The first thing that came to mind was hold on, stay tough. Jeff will find a key to land on eventually. It's like, when's it coming?
I
And
have
of course,
two-
so that breakdown riff at the end is in a new key. Like, in case it wasn't abundantly clear, he picked a new key to do his last riff on, his last breakdown on.
Why not?
No, not wine. Yeah,
All right.
This isn't your first rodeo, Matthew. You knew what this was.
no, but like, there's so many.
Let me tell
I can see
you.
why there's only 5 songs. They're all chock packed full of shit. Like,
Yeah.
it's good shit.
If you do this level of like acrobatics, you only need 5 songs, and you should really probably only do 5 songs.
Right.
I'll say
It's
this,
good for
after
balance.
listening to this, I think this is a Nora and Emerald song, and I think it's that because it
Oh.
is, I think it's literally a combination of Emerald and Nora songs. So I think back to Volume 7 and Let's Get Real. That synthy, that one was a very synth poppy kind of song, which we've got elements of that, and it sticks through the whole time. And then we've got, Emerald stuff. God, what's the Volume 3 song?
Yeah.
Volume 3, right? With the Mercury Emerald song?
Yeah.
I'm the one?
Divide? No, not.
No, I'm the one. Yeah.
I'm the one. Yeah.
I'm the one. Yeah. Feels like that in places. A lot like that in places. So I love it. Okay, so then my question to you, Paul. Yes. What can I help you with? Okay.
Mhm.
I felt him looking at me. It's a sibling shit. Can we put this on the list? And I'm asking you
Oh, I
that
don't
for a
know.
reason.
Yeah.
It
It might need a bit more practice.
But it might need. But what if we did more? Okay, we'll talk about it later. But yeah, I went on
the
the list.
extended list. Like,
Yes.
This is a
Yeah.
2023 list.
No, I have ideas, but it's fine. I love this one. This one's very good.
I mean,
So-
doesn't the list have basically almost every song, anyways? Like, I don't
No.
see what like.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
It has at some point. They just
But
get
we've
shuffled
chopped
around.
it down. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love this one. It's so good. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
It shouldn't work and it does, and that's my favorite shit in the
But
world.
it
It's like,
sound-
why? How dare you?
It's
How fucking dare you, Jeff?
It's almost hyperactive, which is why it's like a Nora-ish kind of thing in my head too.
But
Like
then
it
it's-
fits that character.
But then there's that.
But
Emerald.
also manic. Yeah,
But
it's
there's
manic with the
references-
emerald.
there's references to
Paranoia.
like kind of like moving around stuff, but yeah. So in general,
Amazing.
No offense to Casey, but I'm definitely going to strip the main vocal off this and just listen to those backing vocals on repeat. For about
Oh,
3
they're
days.
wild.
He's so good. It's ridiculous that one person is as talented at literally everything as Jeff is. Like, it's like, be bad at
just wanna see the
something.
session.
yeah, be bad.
I just want to see his Pro Tools session and just see how many
Can
layers.
you imagine
there
how
are.
many tracks? How many tracks do you think there are?
That's a question I have for him.
Oh God, I hope
Well,
he uses
I-
something.
I don't know
hope he uses
because
something other than Pro Tools.
well,
for
yeah,
everyone's sake. Ugh.
I don't know in terms of how many because there's so much clarity, and if there was loads, you'd maybe expect a little less clarity than there is, and they're so tight. That's the crazy thing. You know, if he is doing them 16 times each, they're on point. It must take him a whole day just to get them that tight. You know,
Yeah.
syllable
yeah.
by
I mean,
syllable.
but like a lot of tracks and doing I mean, it is possible. I mean, because
Yeah.
who is the? I watched like I don't want to say it wasn't a how-to video. It was just an explanation of process from Devin Townsend, where he's blowing things out into 24-part choir tracks for his wall of sound concept that he has, and it's like it should sound like white noise, but it doesn't. You know, because it's just
Yeah.
and that might have to do with EQing very specific things in each track to clarify certain things.
And it also has to do with sometimes you combine things and you don't tweak them at all until you've got them as a single file, like thing,
Right.
and then you go from there, and that helps too because I've had to do that several times. When it
Well,
was like,
Devin Townsend is also a freak of nature. Let
Yeah.
the world should know that man is not like the standard. That
He's
man
not
is
from
Oh,
here.
no.
I feel like he's not from
hyper
here.
insane.
I would love to see though. I would love to see Jeff get a chance to do something with Devin's budget. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like,
man, yeah.
oh well, I could do XYZ thing, with different musicians or whatever else, instead of tracking something or instead of doing, because I think that the two of them are, I want to say like an equal level in concept but different methodology. So
Sure.
there's things
fair.
that
Agreed.
there's the things that are like similar and and that are kind of universal and things that they do well, but they do different things very well. But part of that is, if you've got this like huge studio you have access to, and you can call some drummer from Sweden to just show up, and like, hey, I need you to track this stuff, but we're probably going to write some of this as we go, as we get better ideas, and to be able to have that, just to do something in a day, that helps.
Yeah,
but anyway.
it definitely helps.
A little bit, just a little skosh.
Yeah.
It's some
That's good.
help.
You mean resources can affect your output? Who would have known?
That's real weird. Who would have thought?
It's real weird. It's I don't
Strange.
get it.
Somebody should write papers and do research on that.
That's why I need a new computer
Weird.
as it is. It's like the amount of VST stuff I can stick only in
Bro,
one thing at a time.
That's
It's
literally
like,
why I had to upgrade my PC. Was the
I still have to. Like, I don't have enough memory on my computer. Every time I try to do stuff, I'm like, oh, I don't have enough memory.
I remember when I was working on my EP on Twitch. At one point, I went up to 107% CPU usage on Ableton. I was like, "Oh no, I don't think
Nice.
that's a thing that should happen. Probably, maybe not that. Maybe a better processor."
Did your computer like actually scream at you, like goat scream? Was it just like no?
No, it just started stuttering, and the CPU monitor was very unhappy on Ableton. And I was like, "Oh, well, that would make sense why it's starting to shit the bed." Very good. I love
Reaper
technology.
treats me nicely, I'll be honest. I
Oh, yeah.
haven't gone quite as many VSTs as you, but Reaper has been treating me nicely these last 3 or 4 years. So.
Oh yeah, I went back and I thought I had
like
deleted.
Keybase.
Well, for me, I thought I had
Keybase.
deleted a bunch of stuff, but I had 12 tracks with insane amounts of VSTs on them that I had accidentally hidden instead of deleted, and that was my problem because it was like, let's fire Nectar literally 12 times, and I was like, no, maybe not
Oh.
that. Yeah, not that maybe.
You see,
Alrighty.
there's your problem right there.
Oh, you good?
yeah. No,
Okay.
let's
And before we go to the next one, I actually do have to split, unfortunately.
Okay.
Because I forgot. I have to go to my brother's for dinner because I still have his Christmas gifts that my mom wanted me to give him because I was going to give it to him the week after Christmas, but then I got COVID, and that put a kibosh
I didn't know
on
that.
things. So
I'm
that was
sorry.
fun. Yeah, that don't get COVID. It's terrible. Please, everyone
It
wear a mask,
sucks.
please.
Where'd you?
It was terrible. I
You
was at
all
home,
brought
and
it
my O2 dropped to 88 that night while I was at home, and so
Jeez.
Michelle did not sleep that night because she was watching me. And then by the next day, I was fine. But yeah, that was a 24 hours of hell.
yeah.
Wild.
but Michelle also has a pulse ox.
Yeah, we do. That's
Yeah.
why it was.
Doesn't everyone know?
I mean,
Well, now.
yeah,
but,
in
like,
the UK, maybe Paul.
but that's
Not
Jeez.
here where we use freedom units.
I've got one on my phone.
but
freedom. Yeah, I married a nurse, so I don't have to worry about freedom units. I get an actual pulse ox.
yeah. Yeah, I used to have one of those. I took it back to the warehouse. I'm quitting this job. I'm going to drop this back off.
All right.
Okay.
Well,
All right, I love you all, but I have to go. Yeah.
bye. Thank you.
Take care, man.
Yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. I love you all.
All right. See you.
Bye, me too. Bye. Have
Bye.
fun.
Bye. A single nut remains.
Yes.
Oh no.
Just Ginger. Wait, which of you
Just
is
the
Ginger and
ginger.
which of you is the nut is the question.
Oh, he's the fucking nut. I'm
You heard it first. Straight from the clown nose. All right.
Okay.
I was here first, I think.
That seems right.
All right. So where are we at here?
We did that one.
Yep.
Remind me, Bruce, after the 5, how many after, like how many more are we tacking on after the 5? Or none?
So there's the 5 that are were not completed in the season that are now fleshed out, and then you have the closing credit, and then the OK Goodnight track.
So we have 3 more.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah.
Cool.
Oh wait, no.
4 more.
Four more.
Yeah.
We'll go.
But
This one's very short.
yeah, but that leads into kind of what we were talking about earlier when it comes to like sometimes something is just complete, like, so you have a track and it's like, it's completed and you don't, a lot of people were really upset that this track, The Truth, is only 53 seconds. And that's the one they're really wanting a longer version of and all this other kind of stuff. But sometimes something that goes in an episode, I mean, this is just universal. Sometimes something that goes in is the complete, so if someone, if the director or lead animator or whoever it is, producer says, hey, we need something for a montage that demonstrates this. Well, okay. And there's not much more you can say past that because you've just told the complete backstory as, hypothetically, as part of said montage. So unless you want to regurgitate or repeat everything that was just said about somebody about that same chunk of time, then you're
right.
Is this the first time we
a
had
montage is a precise storytelling concept.
Right.
The music does not have to be more so than precise.
And there's no dialogue during the montage, so the music is supposed to tell the story instead. It was the way I always looked at it was like, this thing was written not to be blown out into something else, but this thing was written to be the dialogue for said thing, to explain, kind of have an explanation of what's going on, in someone's head or what have you.
Is this the first time there's been, if this is what I think it is, there were 2 songs in this one episode, right? 2 songs used?
Yes.
Yeah. Is that the first time that's ever happened? I was thinking about that today.
I don't know.
Has that ever happened before? And it's kind of a weird situation with both songs though, because this is the first one this is the full version and this showed up, and then the other one is also a special case. So
right.
Kind of interesting.
So
shit got weird in Volume 8.
All right. Everyone ready?
Yeah.
All right. So here we go.
Oh, but I did love this one.
Right.
Shut your mouth and do your chores. Scrub the dishes in the sink. No one said that you should think. Shine the silver, wash the clothes, and when you're finished, darn the socks. Draw my bath, fetch my slippers, fill my glass, and rub my feet. Hurry up, you're so slow. You're no good, I hope you know that your life is of no use, and the truth is that no one's ever loved you.
Is that reverb you were looking for, Matthew?
I know.
And the vibrato, you got all the things.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's great. But all right, so in fairness, I could actually see somebody blowing that into a whole ingenue musical number if you really wanted to. So it's not necessary at all, but it does. I understand much better the fans ravenous hunger for something more.
So what's the last chord of that?
E major.
Okay.
I think. Or an E major 7.
Right.
So cash, just don't mind me.
Reach over to the MIDI.
Just checking.
I mean, I think it accomplished what it needed to accomplish. But I am also from a place of, I don't know. I also have character bias here of I'm good. So.
Yeah, the other thing is, as it stands in the show at the moment, there is no more story to tell. There's a big gap between where that ends off and where we are now. So I guess anything you took from there would be conjecture, and people's headcanons would go wild.
Yeah. I mean,
which we know is a problem.
Wait, what?
All right. I don't know. I was there was 3 inputs. I was just going to say, necessary or not, I would be very happily surprised if this song did get elongated in a future volume.
Yeah, after the story's been told.
Right, the story has been told. But, I mean, if context is fleshed out, I don't know if it will be. It's a pretty thorough storytelling, but how interesting it would be Because this is a Cinder song, right?
Yeah, and I think
Right.
that go ahead, and then I have a thought based on that.
I was just gonna say, as Cinder's character develops or devolves, you know, fuck if we know which direction it's going at this point. But if there was a way to because this is a song of the past, it would be very cool for the extension, or if there was a way to elongate the song, then weave its way into whatever present or current character development is happening with Cinder in future things. I think that'd be super cool.
I agree, and I 100% would love that. But I think where it stands now, I don't know how you weave this into a longer, more like rock style RWBY song without it sounding exactly like All Things Must Die. Because if you tried to transition into something, it's following the literal, like it's the exact same pattern, which I think is intentional. Don't get me wrong in terms of this little song, but I'm wondering if that's not one of the reasons we're like, well, we'll come back to this, or this is fine how it is. And that may be me as a enormous All Things Must Die fangirl, and also I've heard it a lot more recently than probably any other song from RWBY. But yeah, I don't know how you grow from that without retreading ground, because she hasn't really done much to not be retreading the same ground at this point as a character. Like, I don't know where you go from this. And also, taking into account there's another song from the same episode, I don't know how you get, and granted that's from that wasn't written specifically for the episode, but it's kind of overload on one character at a certain point, I think.
Well, I don't know about that, because I feel like any character song is overload on one character. In fairness, considering how much or little we get on story updates, considering there's the better part of 12 to 16 main characters at any given time. But I would definitely not want this to be a rock song. I would want it to be like a very slow, tragic ballad number. Because I get like Beauty and the Beast and Anastasia vibes. Like I think Anastasia especially when I hear this. Like Once Upon December. Huh?
I think Avenue Q. Just kidding.
Yeah. I don't know. I think and this is stretching, but for the sake of argument, which normally isn't productive, but if I were to find a way to elongate this, I would start talking about things in Cinder's character that haven't been discussed, like her relationship to this weird like monster appendage, the concept of being like human and losing one's autonomy, her grip on sanity, the concept of newfound power, never getting enough of it. Like there are a lot of character motivations about Cinder. I hate her, by the way. I don't like Cinder.
Same.
And
and I agree. I would love that to happen, because then I might not hate Cinder. So
right, but there are so many active parts about Cinder just because she's fucking strong. That I do genuinely think you could blow out a whole song too. However, I still am under the umbrella that it's unnecessary. But I just wanted to observe that there are a lot of moving parts about her. So
I also think it's interesting. One thing I noticed, Casey's vocal styling choices very much, to me in parts, sound a lot like the way Jessica delivers Cinder. There's a certain way she has her mouth around the vowels and things, and it's not just that this is a more traditional, like you said, musical theater-y almost style of singing. There's something about the breathiness and stuff where it feels very much like Cinder, which is funny because it's really more about Cinder and not from her perspective, but that seems like a conscious choice. And it doesn't seem like something that was EQ'd later, because the breathiness tells me she was way more mask forward with it than we've been hearing from her belt this volume. So it was certainly a choice.
I didn't think it was Casey. I thought it was.
I didn't either.
Else.
It was wild. Yeah, it sounded. It was definitely her making a stylistic, musical theater-y choice of I'm going to be a character, and I thought that's fucking cool. Let's do that some more.
It's good. Yeah. I mean, talent where talent due. That's some talent to be able to sound like two different people.
Absolutely. Paul?
Jeff made a decision here to throw the headcanons of people all over the place because it's melodically all borrowed from Sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
Which isn't historically thought of as a Cinder song, and there's big debates over whether that's Raven or Salem or Osbourne or everyone. But yeah, I thought it was interesting that it's basically lifted the melody straight from that. And the other cool thing is there's like there's a cool pickup in the line at the beginning that sends you it's a bit of a fake out. And then the piano at the beginning, so you're not exactly sure where you are. It takes a second to get your head around it for time-wise.
It really does. And then you only have a few seconds to enjoy it, then it's gone. It's kind of interesting that it's ephemeral like that. It's kind of interesting. I hadn't thought about the sacrifice thing, because if we take the assumption that that is a Salem-heavy song, it's funny that this is the perspective of her first abusive mom, sounding a lot like the song from her second abusive mom. So I'm sure that's partially intentional, because that's how Jeff rolls. But like... That absolutely makes sense, and it does feel that like sacrifice now that you mention it. So she needs a supportive mother figure literally anywhere. Please help this girl.
Or she could die. I would really like it if she died.
Matthew, I knew we understand each other, Matthew. like I'm good with like. There's a lot of people that already exist that could fill that role and be more interesting about it. Let's just.
I mean, there's already like 3 volumes where she should have died anyway. She should be dead. She needs to die.
Side note, Shannon, I'm so sorry, sweetie. It's like our biggest fangirl of the two of us, and that's her favorite character in the show. Sorry. We're just here. You know, we got to throw some controversy out there and get yelled at the comments. It can't all be good, so. All right, we ready to move on?
One of my favorites died. I'm allowed to be bitter.
That's fair. That's fair. Just don't have favorites. And then you're just like, oh, everything's disappointing, but not bitterly so. Just disappointing when people die.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
I'm pleading the fifth on any and all information.
On what? Oh, of the things we discussed?
Of any and all of that, because I'll get in trouble.
Alignment with any character.
Paul's like half quiet too, so.
No, it's fine.
And I know that laugh. I've played enough video games with Paul, and I know that laugh too. So, where are we at? Okay, this one. Get this up. All right. So, next one. Are you trying to figure out a melody there, real quick, or?
Yeah, I just heard it.
Okay.
There's something interesting coming up.
Oh, okay. So next one is Treasure, which is, I guess it's, well, by its nature, I guess it'd be controversy for a lot of people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because headcanons and some things are probably actually canon in the background and others are not, and people all like to argue about it all the time anyway, and it's just, I like just to sit back and laugh and laugh.
Okay, so a lot of early last year, I guess now, because God, it's 2022. Where did time go? Felt like a kind of a weird fever dream for me. Where is this song at in the show?
So when when everyone's finally back together, like they arrive at the mansion.
Okay.
And so it's, I don't know, what's the original's like probably 30 seconds or something like that. Of just like everyone seeing each other again.
I'll probably know it when I hear it. Okay, I just was trying to get at least in the headspace because you said all the thing about controversy, and I was like, shit, I need context.
Oh, so it's the forehead touch.
The shipping wars of
okay. Now you've spoken the controversies into existence. Okay, got it.
Yeah, I mean,
truly a controversy I care nothing about. I care about who lives and who dies, not who loves each other.
Yeah,
at all.
That's fair.
Who lives, who dies. Who tells your story?
You dark bastard.
No.
I was like, level of mad, exactly what I expected. All right, let's go.
All right, here we go.
5 minutes. Oh my God.
Okay.
Interesting.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Night and day I've waited for the moment when I'd see your face and feel you near.
You got your reverb.
Of course, they wouldn't say day and night.
I was about to say that. Damn it.
Too easy.
No, there's your reverb, of course.
And look, vibrato. It's lovely.
Though I walk this world,
beautiful.
I am no
Ooh, I like that.
Lots of you, and for now you're not around.
I've already heard this song in the show before. What theme is this?
But that's alright. I'll be just fine. I'm not concerned.
Ooh.
with
A major seventh, Matthew?
Huh?
That major seventh interval?
Yes? Yeah, it's a 6.
Cause the treasure of my life is being by your side.
Jazz.
Hour after hour, I spend dreaming that your voice will wake my slumbering ear. Numb and lost, I wander with no place to go, just aimless till you reappear. Till you come in view, I keep watch with
That's a 7.
these sore eyes. Looking through the tears as the days creep slowly by. But that's alright. I'll be just fine. I'm not concerned.
No, that is a 7. My
Yep.
bad.
If forever comes and goes, I won't pay it no mind. 'Cause the treasure of my life is being where you are. Nothing's gonna shake my faith. I know you're coming back real soon to my embrace. Though time goes by so slow, I'm never letting go. I
Very nice.
won't give up if I spend my life. I know that that's alright. I'll be just fine. I'm not concerned with sands of time. If forever comes and goes, I won't pay it no mind. 'Cause the treasure of my life is being by your side.
Lovely.
Casey. Girl.
Very good.
Ah, so good.
No, keep
Yeah,
going.
I don't know why a very serene and vulnerable ballad made me think of this, because it's very out of left field. But Bruce, I would love, well, everyone, I would love to hear Casey sing with Brittany on Unleash the Archers, because they have very similar vocal timbres. I think they would sound awesome together, even though that's not anywhere close to the genre of this song.
No, but
But-
that makes sense. Yeah.
Just wanted to say that.
Yeah, there's something to be said about like really dynamic female singers. Just watching them play against
Power
each other would
metros.
be dope as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
lots of vulnerability, lots of beautiful control. Some of these lines are very long and difficult with high jumps in them.
Yeah.
I don't know how much studio magic they're chopping up the lines, but if some of these are sung as long as they sound, then that's some very, very good breath control.
Yeah, I didn't.
love it.
Nothing jumped out to me as obviously chopped together. Like all the breathing and stuff, you know, felt pretty.
I don't know if we would know though. Jeff's that good.
Yeah, no, I noticed it a couple times when we were talking. You were talking about that really long line in the one song. That there was absolutely a breath chopped at the very beginning of. Like that was definitely there was a part in there that had a jump that I could hear, but that's like inhuman. So, yeah, I don't know. This one, I think it's really. It's really hard to hide that kind of shit when you are using your head voice that much. I find.
I believe you.
It's hard
not
to
great.
hide it in emotional ballads as well, where the accompaniment is,
it's
minimal.
Good to know.
Yeah,
There's
you can
not a
hide
lot
it
of
and
play.
There's a lot more going on. Yeah.
Head in the mix. Wild.
You know, that was good. It's. I don't know. I guess I don't get. I don't get the controversy.
Oh, well, okay. So
Well, that's because you're a rational human being, I guess.
Okay.
Call them out.
the well, it's not really controversy, but like everyone, I say that with an asterisk on it because it's not everyone, but the most vocal group of people was like, well, this is a Blake and Yang song, because that moment kind of happened in that scene or whatever. But it's at the same time, it's like everyone else was also like kind of getting back together, so it's like, well, yeah, it applies to them, sure, but it also applies to Ren and Nora's thing. It would in some way would also apply to Ruby and Yang because they're very close or whatever. Now it wouldn't be so much the romantic side of that or whatever, but there's still the other more vague lines that are in there that are just about kind of rejoining with somebody or missing somebody or whatever. So once again, it's one of those things where it's like you can't take it as a canon thing. It is what it is. And this tune, I think people they microscope down to a very finite point on what something's supposed to be about, as opposed to this is the overall emotion of XYZ, of missing somebody, longing to see someone again, getting back with somebody or seeing someone that you've missed or whatever. So, take that for what it's worth. But I think sometimes people get real specific on things when it's like, but it's also just a broader emotion or a broader concept too.
Yeah. Well, quick question, because I wasn't around then. Did Home have the same back and forth arguments about it? Because I don't really feel that this is vibe-wise much different lyrically.
No, because that was more of a family vibe.
Yeah, it does, but there's a lot of things specific. Like, there's actually a lot of reused lyrics, and just in terms of words, like vocabulary specifically. Like, embrace comes up several times. I know that comes up in Home. Like, there's a bunch of.
I was about to be a total dick and be like, you mean like the and. And it's like
child.
There's a lot of reused words. Like
no, but I mean, like, I think there's a specific. There's a specific vibe, and I think that this one maybe feels more warm because Home was sort of about being separated and still being separated and lamenting that a little bit, whereas this is now sort of the follow-up of, okay, now we're back together, and that's an exploration of that sort of emotion. So, and I think they dovetail.
People just like to shit on each other, unfortunately.
No, that's fair. I mean, yeah. I mean, but we can try and make people shitting on each other be a jumping off point for musical discussion?
Yeah.
Question mark? No? Okay, well, then we won't do that.
Let them fight.
Yeah.
Let them fight.
To the dogs with them.
Yeah, I mean,
what a beautiful piano line. Again, I feel like that first minute I've heard before in another RWBY song. Or at least that specific chord progression, and not related to any key, like that chord progression in that key, I feel like I've heard somewhere in another Jeff song, which makes me suspicious that it's intentional. But either way, I mean, goddamn, is it pretty?
Well, what do you want, man? Like an Andaluvian progression, so we can have some Spanish or music, or like what's? You want some flamenco going on, or?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, Jeff, Volume 9, flamenco. Let's go.
Flamenco.
Let's go.
Well,
You were assigned
Red
a
Like
task.
Roses has kind of got that vibe, hasn't it? The very, very first
Oh yeah.
thing he did.
That's
Yeah.
true. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's full circle. Come full circle.
That one's kind of straightforward. I mean, I don't have a lot to say about that one, only because that's
Yeah, you've got.
Not-
I
not
guess
that-
like
not that there's
if
a
you're not
critique
really
about it, but
invested
it's-
in.
Well, yeah. If you're not really invested in like the what ships are doing what and all that kind of stuff, but me being an instrumentalist, I appreciate
Yeah.
the vocal. I appreciate the songwriting.
Mhm.
I appreciate the lyrics. I appreciate like how they're
Yeah.
like plugged in together. But I don't have a lot to say about like obviously.
It's a good RWBY ballad. It's got a great
Yeah.
vocal over a
Yeah.
sparse but interesting arrangement with a lot of strings and key and piano, and everybody does their job, and it's great.
Yeah.
And that's a
Some
RWBY ballad.
interesting interval choices in the melody as well.
Oh, that
Yeah.
that seventh jump was just money. And
Casey's
it's
doing.
hard
I
as
don't know if
shit.
it's intentional. I don't know if it's intentional, but like in all the songs so far, Casey's hit like either high Fs or high Es. So whether or not it's on purpose, she's very intentionally like continuing to make sure to access the very top of what sounds like her range. I don't know if that's a wow factor or if it's a trick just to make sure that she's always like pushing her limits and making sure to just access every part of her voice. But I've heard, we've heard her access like the lowest part of her voice, but
Mhm.
that's very much less common in RWBY than her going for the rafters.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I found it interesting that it's like F, E, 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 E. Like they're very high notes for a mezzo.
Yeah.
So she's doing a good job.
It's interesting because there was like it goes up like they really there's a couple songs on volume 5 where I know that there's A's from looking at stuff where it just
Yes,
goes
that's correct.
it's ridiculous. And then I noticed
mix.
and then I noticed in volume 6 all of that shit is way like it's almost like she said that is above the limit for me, I think, where we're risking injury, we're risking not sounding good because it has never crept back up there. But I know I know this from my own experience that the armed and ready Fs, like in that chorus there, like she nails those consistently, and volume 4 is about where her range settled. So I think 5 was let's play with my range a little bit more now that I'm adult and I know better technique stuff. And she's like, this is the limit because I don't think it's ever gone above those Fs. And she can play around there comfortably, and I think she knows her limits. Because there's some misery in volume 5.
OK Goodnight stuff. I think in fact the one that we're going to listen to, there's a really high note in there.
Okay.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I haven't listened to any of that, so I'm excited. No, I mean, I heard it in the show.
I don't remember the OK Goodnight stuff going that high, but my memory is not perfect and deteriorating by the day. So, who's to say?
Isn't getting old fun, Matthew?
Yeah.
It's like every year you're like, damn, I didn't realize how good I had it 5 years
but
ago.
But this is the last official birthday where you get some kind of perk. So your car insurance should have dropped, right? Like
it should have.
It will.
That's a 25 thing is your car insurance.
Right. You're out of the danger bracket. Yeah.
From here,
We'll
it's all
see.
downhill. So good luck.
Hang on, Matthew's Gen Z, isn't he? Doesn't have a car.
Technically, I am. Yes.
He's the
Although I
elder.
will say I've been the youngest in my friend groups as long as I can remember. So all of my social raising has been by millennials.
Yeah, that's how I
So,
was with
if
Gen
that
X. Stealing the culture
The dark
of Gen
ages.
X because that was our cool older friends. You know, except for
Yeah.
you. You're not my cool older friend. You're just my older friend.
Fuck off.
Ben.
Let's see. Okay, so anything left?
No, I think
Previous
that's
one?
yeah. I think that's
Okay. So next one is Friend, which is the end credits.
Mm-hmm. I just remembered something else that happened that same Saturday, that 13th episode came out, because that was the
On
day
stream.
that we released Armed and Ready after Yang fell off the stuff.
Oh, that's right.
And so we had already planned that weeks in advance, and we were in a we were like, how do we do this? Like, because we lost so many initial comments on that video because we had to go and delete them for spoilers. Because people were like, I cannot believe you released this song on this day. And it's like, my guy, this has been scheduled for fucking weeks, dude.
We didn't record it today.
And so we were like making a joke about, oh, you know, if we put out another video with Penny, LOL. And then we were like, oh shit. We were like the Kiss of Death crew for 2 weeks. It was it was not good.
On that Friday before in the Discord, we were like, ha ha ha, what are we going to do tomorrow if Yang falls off into the void?
Yeah.
Somebody literally made that joke.
Yeah.
In our Discord. It was not great. It was that was already an initial level. Oh, it was crazy.
I was thrown for a fucking loop. Like, at the time of this recording, my last 2 episodes are like getting sent to Bruce. So nobody save me has like seen the reactions, but it's just a lot of just like
yeah,
I didn't see that mile away. So
much shit happened. So much shit happened.
And you know, I love a rough storyline. So I'm like, oh, I'm so here for this.
Oh, I always prefer a rough storyline.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
I don't think it's going to be as rough because I don't think any of them died. But anywho,
it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so we're friending it up.
Yep. All right, you guys ready?
I'm contractually obligated to say, hi, friend. Let's go.
Oh,
he won't ever watch this, so he won't appreciate it.
He doesn't watch. He doesn't watch.
Yeah.
He's a nerd.
He is. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
But I got my foe right here.
Yep.
Darkness like midnight, moonless, there's no light, another lonely day is ending, searching forever, waiting, but never finding the only thing I dream of. The warmth of a smile that stays for a while, the face of a friend that won't leave.
Oh, that hits so hard now.
I heard a song once. It posed
oh
this
god
point
damn
of
it!
view.
I'm fucking right, exactly.
That's great.
So here's my secret. At bedtime every night, I search the sky and hope to find a star who'd send a light to me.
This is the find the snare section.
Thing I need. Just one kind soul with a heart of gold. Then my dreams became real and I finally feel not alone. Do hearts always make you feel this warm? My wish came true the day that you appeared and called me friend. An answered prayer, a chance to share the world, to be a girl who finally felt alive.
But it's so happy.
I got
Rough.
a thought about that after this. I'm enjoying my song.
I'm so excited. We'll do so many friendship things.
Fuck you. None of this will ever happen. That's rough. That's fucking rough.
backing vocals. Woof.
Very, very tight. People are gonna look back on that generations later and be like, what a relic of the past.
What? Yeah.
Who says all the feels anymore?
Lamar does a lot of relics too that I appreciate.
Grand guitar solo. She couldn't, she didn't have time.
First thing I want to say, I saw you did send me the bit of the artwork.
Right.
I didn't get any of the lyrics. I think after the events of 13 is where she turned into a real girl, right? 13 or 12 or 13. I thought this song was about to be a celebration of Penny being, because you look and it's like, oh, her robot self was praying for that day that happened that we finally got. That's awesome. I think that was more devastating because I had that experience of expectations getting absolutely fucked up.
You had misdirected foreshadowing.
The worst. And the whole song actually, up until that bridge, even where the acknowledgement happens. Yeah. Yeah, that sucks.
How long was Penny a human for? 30 minutes?
Well,
like 45? Was she a human for at least 1 hour?
Maybe.
Before she died?
Like
maybe.
Yeah, because they had to go and do the plan. Yeah, I mean, it certainly wasn't like, not really, because the whole volume happens over a very compressed amount of time, right?
Right.
People were very salty about that. And my thing, I mean, it's based on, fairy tales and stuff like that. But a lot of people forget that the original Pinocchio story is not the Disney one that everyone kind of knows and thinks about. So, Pinocchio dies. I mean, that's what happens in the original. But a lot of people don't remember that or knew that. And so they probably predicted okay, she's going to be a real girl. I get it, but then episode 14 happens and it's like, oh, what? How? Wait, that's not how it goes. And it's like, but that is how it goes.
Yeah.
That is the thing.
Well, now you just need to smash cut back to episode 1 when I remember myself absolutely yelling in my apartment. And I think the exact words are, if you kill her again.
Oh, yeah. When she comes back in volume 7.
Yeah.
You're like,
yeah.
There's Penny!
It's like,
right.
You kill her again.
I believe her getting killed. That was not surprising. What was surprising is how quickly they did it. Any fairy tale, you can decide how quickly or how slowly you want to fulfill the story. Yeah. They took no fucking time at all. They're just die.
Yeah,
Get her out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't.
I like to just imagine Jeff sitting at his desk writing the lyrics, and he's like, "Can you get the focus with this one?"
Yeah.
Okay. So after I talked to Alex after the episode came out or the chapter came out, and so because there's that section of where, when she does die, and then she she's in kind of the white void and meets winter, and all that kind of stuff. So I sent a message to Alex. I was like,
platform 9 3/4.
I was like, so so how'd that go? And I think he said something about like there were like a lot of tears shed at the keyboard,
Aw, buddy.
like because
Aww.
I mean, because if you think about it, I mean, you've got these characters that you're invested in because either you're an animator or a writer or a composer or something like that, and you know you've come up with melody lines and leitmotifs and like themes for things and all that kind of stuff, and you're like, oh fuck, man, like you know, like that's got to happen too, where you realize that crap. And
Where
then,
you realize that Kill Your Darlings is about to become a real thing. Holy
well,
shit.
you know, and so you know, which goes back to when Jeff originally is like, yeah, you know, I've shed some tears on that art. You know, it's like, oh, well, cool, it's good art. Not, oh, fuck, that's why you know, it's like,
Right.
wait, that's why, okay, yeah, I didn't get that at all, you know, like, I thought it was just because it's like, oh, that's a wholesome moment, like, aw,
Yeah.
not, you know, that kind of thing.
So he really did get us in the end, even us.
Some connection issues. Interesting. A twist in the myth. Very true.
All right, so do we have any more thoughts on Friend before we were so rudely interrupted by the internet shitting the bed?
So it's a cruel observation that I noticed about my enjoyment of the series and how, like, as the volume has gone on, loyalties and how favorites work, it was a cruel notch in the belt that I would have been willing to say that Penny, who had previously and for this whole time had been like the second favorite character, slowly crept into like the number one spot right before she died. Maybe like 4 minutes before she gets fucking mollywopped by Cinder. And I sat back, not vocalized it, but after like I finished recording, I was like, that's just a bitch.
Yeah.
So that's all I have to say about that.
That's fair. That's fair.
I'm sorry about your robot friend. She was quite lovely.
Thanks.
We all very much liked
She was,
her.
wasn't
Yes.
she?
A bittersweet song for you then, Matthew.
Mm.
Always.
Oh, boy.
I don't know what's the anger is one of the stages of grief. I just don't remember which one.
Mhm. I've also heard grief is a spiral,
Well,
so
if
take
you-
your time wherever you'd
Sorry.
like in the process.
Yeah, pardon the pun, but the execution was good.
Wasn't it though?
Oh, Paul.
Hey, at least it was not like Marionette
Of the song,
Water.
of the song.
Oh no, the song's great.
Of the song.
Musically
Yeah,
is
the
dope.
song, yeah.
Right.
It's a
Yeah, the only guitar strings that were used this time was in the song and not around Penny's body.
Yeah.
But I'm saying thank you.
Well, but Paul's a dad, so dad jokes are allowed. Puns and dad jokes.
It's a fucking good song.
It's,
though,
yeah,
let's
it's
be
such
honest.
it's a great song.
Great song.
I like the it's another one of those where it shifts around quite a bit, like in terms of instrumentation and stuff, but it never feels forced. It just slowly goes where it needs to go, gets there and nails it at every turn, which it's just the Jeff way, I guess. That is how he does
Some
it.
really, really interesting stuff going on under that piano in the intro as well.
Mm-hmm.
There was one thing in there that
It's got some synths.
There was one thing in there that I'd never heard before until this time. I mean, you know, you can listen to something 20 times and then like the 21st time you're like, oh. But there's some type of there's some percussive element that is almost like a click, but it's pitched.
Yeah, in the intro.
Yeah. And I don't want to say bongo's completely the wrong tabla bongo. It's
You know, it literally sounds like someone clicking with their mouth, doesn't it? But
it's
they're mapped to pitches.
yeah, it's very, very subtle.
There's some
That's
there's
the first
some
time I noticed it.
there's a weird like synthesized harpsichord kind of sound at the end that does these weird off-kilter kind of triplets too that I noticed that I had not. I mean, I hadn't really listened to this before. Sterling and I were like, "What the fuck just happened?" because we reacted together.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But there's some interesting shit towards the end too that I liked. He's definitely playing with a lot of synthy weird stuff in the background on a lot of this, and I am always here for that shit. So, you know, bless Bless Jeff.
All right.
Mm.
Any that it? Anything else?
No.
Okay.
It's a sad bop.
Hits all,
a
hits
definition
all
of
the
a sad
usual.
bop.
Yeah.
Hits all the usual notes.
Okay, so last one is Awake
We're
by
good.
OK Goodnight,
Here we go.
which memed again. Shannon's gonna meme the shit out of it,
Mm-hmm. She will.
which is okay.
And that's what she's there for. Bless.
So this is the OK Goodnight tune, like the full version of it, and I don't think there was anything specific that I was thinking of in the background of it, but it's, you know, it's that section where, was it Rhodes? Is that his name? Rhodes and Cinder fight when she's young? Yeah, okay.
I think so.
So there's a section of this tune that is that, but this is the full thing.
Yeah.
All right, so 3, 2, 1.
Arp. Arp, arp, arp.
I like those two timbres together of the bass and the piano, the grind on the piano.
Those lower octaves. Yeah. Acoustic low-end piano is phenomenal
It's got that clank that,
and underused.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
got that clank that
That's an underrated
prog
thing
bass
for
players
sure.
have been trying to get forever. So just get a piano.
In the album I'm writing with my band, there's a lot of low-end piano because I love that shit.
Yeah.
Now we go prog.
I love
What
all
a
the
nasty
unison.
line.
It's so effective.
Every time, and just a cymbal in the back. Gotta have that steady metronomic.
Fragilizing bones, forever we alone cannot escape this misery.
This is already my favorite OK Goodnight song.
Step into the light, inebriate inside, unveil the truth that guides us home. Look inside, the darkness, my tears collide, sinking into the shrine of me. I'm ready to be set free. I'm sick as a
Full stops, another thing that's great.
I feel alive. My self-portrait suicide. Tonight is no time to die. And now I'm awake.
Her melodic sensibility is so different from Jeff's. It's very interesting.
I agree. And that is that prog shit right there.
Truth can break your soul.
That is some Haken shit right there.
Just when you think it's you, the treachery will creep inside. Amber, sweet and unrefined, so bright.
Keep building it.
Yep.
Keep building it.
The repeat without the stops is dope.
Is there another backing singer? It's not Casey.
Great question.
Darkness, my tears collide, sinking into the shrine of me. I'm ready to be set free. I'm sick as the dog in the air I breathe. I feel alive.
That guitar is simple but very, very good.
Tonight is no time to die. Now I'm awake.
Break it down.
The production on this is super, super clean.
This is the section that's in the show, isn't it?
Huh?
This is the section that's in the show.
Yeah.
Whoa. Cindy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's simple. That's fun.
Inside, with darkness, my tears collide, sinking into the shrine of me.
Ooh.
I'm ready to be set free. I'm sick as a dog in the air I breathe. I feel alive. My self-portrait suicide. Tonight is no time to die. Now all the way. Oh, now I'm
Okay.
That's an A, right?
That is an A flat.
I knew it was up there. Okay, yeah.
I really like.
Yeah.
You were talking about the guitar line earlier. Martin's the guitar player, and he always chooses like it's a solo, and it fits the like in a lot of prog and other stuff like that, or just where there's like the complex rhythmic side of things. And sometimes it's really
Yes, I
yeah.
do.
So it's really difficult. Well, but what I'm saying is like it's really difficult sometimes to try and decide. I need to do something that's a melodic as a solo, but I still need to make it
Right.
fit this other thing. So it just doesn't sound like a 10th layer on top of everything else, and all of a sudden it's like, oh well, it's kind of prog and it's kind of this and it's kind of this, but there's this like power metal thing on top that just sounds maybe out of place, maybe not.
That's
that
correct.
kind of thing.
Yes.
And I think he makes a lot of really good choices as to what fits both. Like nothing is out of place, but it's not just
No.
it's not just a riff. There's a lot of
That's
yeah,
correct.
there's a
Yeah,
lot of
I
players out
agree.
there that'll they'll continue the riff, or they might do the riff in harmony and count that as like the thing. And
Right.
but he's not doing that. He's matching a rhythmic quality that's going on, but able to then pick and choose things to, oh, well, it's there's a melodic content of that. I mean, I can't sing it for the damn, but I can hear that there's
Sure.
something else going on other than just, oh, let's just chunk this riff out in a different key and that'll work, So there's a lot of good choices that go on there.
There's a lot of that happening very
Very much.
very subtly in
You got it.
extra stuff too. There is over that last chorus. There was almost. I hesitate to call it a counter melody because I don't think that's true, but it's the closest thing I can think of. There's a synth in there that's like a mallet synth that is doing this weird point stuff around Casey's melody that is really, really wild. And it jumped out at me just because it's so fucking cool. And it was a really interesting choice to make that final chorus really build, but it's really subtle, but it adds this sort of, it really feeds into that rhythmic quality of everything. All the polyrhythms, everything, it's dope. It just jumped out to me.
It's a new layer.
Yeah, it's so subtle, all these layers that get built. It's so crazy by the end of it, but you don't even realize, you're like, how did we get to this point? It just was a quiet build. I love it.
Very much like Protest the Hero, which is another band that is very good for not chunking out the riff.
Yeah.
Almost all the players in Protest have constantly evolving lines from the drums all the way up to the vocals. So I felt a lot of that. And the more I listened to that heavy riff, like the unison riff that brought in the song and brought out the song, I think Thank You Scientist did almost the exact same riff, which is very good. And I am not bothered at all that I see a connection between the two. But I chuckle where it's just like, oh my God, what a nasty, awesome unison riff. Where have I heard this before? Wait a minute.
Yeah.
That's such a, like, that much unison is just so fucking effective at the beginning of a song. It's just like it's such a thesis statement. You know what I mean? It's just like this. Oh, we're doing this. Like, fuck everything else. This line. This is the kind of shit we're doing. And then her vocal melody works so great with that. It's good. It was really, really good. I like it.
It's nasty. And Bruce, like you were saying with solos, especially solos in prog, they're like two clear defined categories, and it's the slower, melodic, expressive stuff under, like, on top of a prog pattern, and then the technical flim-flams over prog. And it takes an art form not to just be like, okay, I'm done with the expressive and now I'm going to get hard.
Yeah.
There's, if you can weave it together.
That's what she said.
There's that takes.
What?
Yeah.
Fuck off, Bruce.
I mean, I always get hard at prog. That's just like.
Oh wait, I can hit you. Fuck off, Bruce.
Like,
thank God.
Same room.
Welcome to Georgia. Fuck off.
Yeah, the piano thing at the beginning that we were talking about was, so in the summers for the music festival that I do the production management for, in a very small chapel, which is kind of a weird irony there, but a very small chapel that's not really used for services anymore, but there is an organ that's built into it, and there's a small stage with a piano, and there's some music equipment over there to do like chamber music and things like that. It's a very small venue, but the piano that's on the little stage is a Busendorfer. So you,
oh God, Christ,
so
okay.
You have that extended below the A going like another, like, what is it, 4-6 notes down, you know, and they're all painted black, so you don't like subconsciously reach all the way over at them. But yeah, like messing around with, I mean, just, I have the ability to mess around on that thing whenever I got the keys. I can go over there and like pound on it. So like, but hearing like the like low piano and letting that timbre be the predominant one instead of like the bass. So the bass is supporting just to fill it out a little bit, but you get that crunch timbre on like an acoustic piano when you're playing it, you know, and it's all like set up correctly. People need to do that more.
Again, I don't hear it enough, and like, God, I want more of it. And as a musician and a keyboard player, much of the stuff I hope to write in this world that will like last after me will have a shit ton of instruments backing up the acoustic piano, because when it gets down there, it's just like, it's wet on its own. Like, it sounds like
shit to it. You just record that resonance and call it a fucking day. It's so gritty and nasty. I love it.
To be honest, the only thing that I've heard that sounds close to like as much as they brought that out was the beginning of Our House. Paul, come on.
Okay.
Oh, Madness,
yes. It's like,
yeah.
I expected more of a reaction from Paul, but it's late over there, so I guess
it is. He's a trooper.
Yeah. I'm gone. I glazed over.
Good news. We're at the finish line.
Yeah, we are at the finish line. So, but yeah, that opening dun 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 dun.
Kick down the door. That's exactly how you do it.
So.
Yeah, anyway. I want to hear the rest of this now. The rest there.
I purposefully did not listen to this full version of this tune or this full album.
I didn't either, for the same reasons. I think we should probably fix that one day.
Yeah, so.
That might be my first.
Although, admittedly, Cheryl, this is probably some of the heaviest stuff on the album. Their album is more contemplative.
Oh, no, that's...
It's not a bad thing.
Oh, yeah. No, that's dope.
But more atmo.
Yeah, I think maybe I'll make that maybe we can do that. You can come up in March or something. We can do it.
Okay.
And yell at each other.
Anything else other than like 6 shots of caffeine for Paul before he like fades out?
No, let him go to bed.
He's going to make a cuppa before he goes.
Well, I don't know what
I'd say he's going to go to bed, but he's going to be like, wait, I was messing with that thing in MIDI, and then he's going to write a whole song that's better than anything any of us have ever written in life in about 4 minutes, because he's British Jeff. That's how he is.
No, I'm in between projects at the moment, so. But on that note, everyone go and listen to the playlist that's on the YouTube channel. I'm sure Bruce will stick a link to it in the description.
Oh, the covers playlist or the
the covers and / originals. And we've also just finished an opening theme for a fan-made audio drama that should go into a Kickstarter, I think, soon.
Yeah, you and Sterling were working on that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a spaghetti western about crows search for summer,
Okay.
sort of pre-volume one.
Which I'm
Sounds pretty
immediately
cool.
here for.
Yes.
So.
Did you?
So we channeled our inner Ennio Morricone, and Sterling provided some fantastic lead vocals for that. So keep an eye out for that.
Did you end up actually being able to use the mariachi trumpet thing that I sent you?
I did. I blended it. I blended it in
Nice.
with the one that I had. It's cool. So yeah, that's pretty good. I guess it's another semi-original kind of like Boop 2.
You're getting real good at those
Which
semi-originals,
No,
sir.
well, I mean, it's.
I should try a proper one, really, shouldn't I? At some point.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I should finish that Tyrion one.
Yeah. I think you could get away with it a lot more, even given the direction of this OST. I think it's going to start really fitting right in with the. I love it.
I just keep thinking of what genre Tyrion would be in, and part of me is like, okay, so I could see
Tech Debt.
Well, I could see Tyrion like fronting Minor Threat.
Oh man, that'd be amazing.
I'd see Tech
That would be the least complicated version of a tune to do for him.
Oh,
Just like,
Paul knows what genre Tyrion is, right? You have a favorite genre you like to ascribe to him?
Yeah, he's gent jazz.
Yeah, he is.
Gent
He's
jazz all the way.
absolutely.
Gen Jazz, appropriate. That's appropriate.
totally fair.
Yep.
Yeah, but he probably fit right in on Broadway as well. To be fair.
Yeah, he's so funny. He's
a dramatic bitch.
He's had the biggest turnaround for me of all characters. I was like, really thought he was not an interesting villain in a world surrounded by only a few interesting villains at that point. Then he's just such a little motherfucker.
It turns out he's Hannibal Lecter of like Remnant.
But he's so
some shit.
But he's so chill about it.
Oh,
like he's not weird for the sake of being weird. He just is. That's how he is, and bless him.
The funny thing is, I sent the demo to a mutual acquaintance for some feedback, and they were like, "Oh yeah, it's cool." I just realized that it's really hard to write lyrics for Tyrion because he's just a simp and there's not much more to him.
Yeah. He's murder simp. That's literally end of.
Yeah.
That's his entire dossier. He's the murder simp. So, loves him some Salem. Loves him some murder. Simple man of simple needs.
Yeah, that's it.
But yeah, so there's a couple things in the pipeline that one thing's like 80%.
I mean, I've got my song to finish eventually.
Well, and then what was it? There's one thing Paul and Cheryl were working on that's probably like 80% done, but the problem is like is it? Well, I don't know. I'm just guessing at this point because
we both have stuff to do on that. By which I mean that I have stuff to do so he can do the stuff that he needs to do. But that's part of the reason I was taking a little bit of a break was just terminal burnout after 14 months of churning out content. So my plan right now is to be back in March, just so y'all know, and get some stuff done. I just needed to step away so I could come back in and and I thought that I was like, certainly March will be OST. It's going to be dicey if this OST will be out, and then it was like surprise, and I was like, guess we're getting back in. All right. So.
But there's one big project that Cheryl, Paul, and Aaron, trombone player in Canada, that Aaron wrote the lyrics for, which are brilliant, and then I added a couple things to there, and then we've been going back and forth. So we'll talk more about it later, just because I don't know. I don't want to be specific on something and be like, surprise, it's been 6 months, because
plenty of breadcrumbs to leave.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a big one. It's a
well,
big
I mean, I think that's everybody's always, that's a nice thing. That's
actually, this one literally would be a big original.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's a whole lot of themes that he's the melody and chords and things that he's like chunked out, and there's obviously lyrical references to other things and stuff like that, but I guess this would be a true first original kind of thing.
I think it's sometimes one of the downsides of a big group like this is that it's like impossible to get everybody on the same fucking page. In terms of timeline and in terms of that kind of stuff. But then one of the upsides is like you can have little clusters of people working together on shit while other people are working on other shit or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it's always kind of funny to me to look at what's in the pipeline and see what gets out first. Like if you had told me like a year ago, order of operations, which shit would be released in what order and blah, 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 I would have been not anything like it is now. So, and also Paul is a mad genius who just is like, hey, I'm just randomly going to do this thing in like 3 weeks and it's going to be great. So that always also helps. It helps to have that guy in your crew. So
what was I don't know, I'm blanking, but there's been more than one time where it's like, Paul, you specifically were like, I think I want to do this one, but you said I think I want to do this one having already finished 50 to 65% of it.
Yeah.
And then like all of a sudden it's like a week later, okay, I'm done. We need to add just this little bit and this little bit, and then and then a week after that, it's like, okay, do you want to release it today?
Yeah,
like,
that is literally how All Things Must Die went. That is not an exaggeration. It was literally like, hey, check this out. Does that sound cool? We're like, yeah. And then he's like, okay. And then a week later, he's like, here's basically the done demo. And then he's like, okay. 3 days later, I think it's mostly done. And then a couple days later, what do you guys think? And we're like, tweak this in the mix. He's like, okay. And we're like, I guess. Sure. And he's like, want to drop it tomorrow at 4:00? And that's exactly how that shit went. So
yeah,
why not?
Yeah.
And
that song's fucking amazing. So I'm glad somebody in our crew did it.
Station.
Yep. It helps. It is like that.
No, yeah, it helps some things.
Well, and the nice thing too,
other things tend to suffer.
Right. Well, and then to bring it full circle back around, I think that because there's so much to pull from, interesting idea-wise, from the music of this show, that it feels like there's an endless well of shit that we would like to do that we probably won't be able to do, or it's going to be a little while before we get to it. But there's just so much shit I always want to do. Like there's at least 2 from this one that I'm like, I'd like to pipeline that shit. And then I've still got other ones that it's nice to have good material to work with. And that's to Jeff and Casey and Alex's credit 100%. So.
But also like to say a big thank you to everyone for surprising us and showing much more love to the original stuff than the covers, which is normally the other way around.
Yeah.
And probably we expected it to be the other way around, but it's not been the case. So that's down to you guys. So thank you. We do appreciate it.
I'll just say you wrote the fuck out of Boop too. So I'm glad it went that way, because that means at least something in the universe is going right, which is good in these times to have something that fucking works. Like you're like, that was the pleasant surprise, is that the feedback on that one was amazing. And that is full credit to you on that, because it's just it's so good.
There's a lot of good lines in that.
God,
it speaks for itself.
Every lyric is so fucking good. Thank you for making me get it done, because I'm not 100% on my performance on it still, but we knew that going in. I'm glad I got to do it, and I'm glad I got to be a part of it, but that's all Paul. Everything about that song is Paul.
That's what remasters are for. So just give it time, and
that's what recutting your vocals are for.
The 10-year anniversary.
Well, yeah, I'm already tempted to tweak it with it now. I want to get real strings recorded.
Well, and you and I were talking about tweaking, Armed and Ready at one point too, and doing some adjustments. Like that's how it is. Like you can just, that's the one downside to music stuff like this. When you have the full control over the thing, it's like, oh, I have full control. I can fucking go back. Like,
yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, the live strings from that one artist. Did you send me that? Okay, yeah. No, she's incredible.
Oh, in fact, I'll have to send it to Matthew, because there's a guy who was paying people on Fiverr to do JoJo stuff.
Oh boy!
And he paid this girl like $50 or something to do a string quartet of Stand Proud.
Huh.
And it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
I'll send you the link.
It's amazing.
Oh my god!
And on top of that, she plays like all the individual instruments and overlaid them for the recap.
Yeah, violin, viola, and cello, isn't it?
That's insane.
Yeah.
I love it when people use Fiverr.
I would love to see that.
So
I love it. Well,
yeah.
anything else? Any parting
I
words?
used Fiverr for that harmonica part.
Did you?
Okay, so here's the thing.
It's a real
My
harmonica,
first thought was, where in the hell did you find a harmonica sample? That was like my first thought, and I was like,
It's real good.
it's like it's so even that I'm like, okay, that it could be a sample, but I've never seen one that was like that good. So I was trying to figure out where it came from, or if you had like pulled it from somewhere else. But now that makes total sense, because it's got a certain amount of nuance to it, and I'm
Mhm.
like,
Yeah,
Like, man.
it's one of those that I don't think you can.
no,
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
too.
I was thinking like how
Virtually,
much was he like screwing around with the velocities on all this to like get it just right, if that's what if he was sampling something.
It's like, how macroed is this thing? Like, holy shit.
The funny thing is though, because it's it's kind of Jeff harmony. He had to use like 5 different
Oh
harmonicas.
yeah.
That's funny.
He
That's
just
amazing.
didn't have one chromatic. I'm just kidding. Yeah, you can't do that.
That's not
Yeah,
how
yeah.
harmonica plays.
You have to do the John Popper like ammo belt version of
Yeah.
7 harmonicas to fit all your keys. But no, that's cool.
Oh no, it was ridiculously cheap and ridiculously brilliant in the end.
Oh yeah, no. That's the best way to make music, is ridiculously cheap and ridiculously brilliant. Those are the two. That's the way. That's the modern
you can't
way.
do it ridiculously cheap unless you got ridiculously brilliant ideas.
Well,
so.
here's the thing: ridiculously cheap in terms of your like immediate investment. Because let's not talk about the amount of money we've spent over time on, like
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure none of us want to see that total. How much have you spent on musical instruments / software /
I could
peripherals?
I could put a down payment on a house with all the horns that I have bought. And
You can
sold
fucking
over
buy a house with everything else probably outright.
time.
Over the years, there's no way. There's no way that's yeah.
Any last words on anything?
It's always a pleasure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's been a minute, so
Indeed.
hopefully it won't be as long to the next one.
Yeah. Well.
Roll on volume 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See the Space Cowboy.
Indeed.
People are salty about that.
People are going to be look. People will be salty about literally fucking anything on the internet.
I mean, you're not wrong. So
Yeah, that's the
we'll
internet.
go with that.
Speaking of, I'll see you in March, internet.
All
I'll
right.
be back. I have ideas, so I will see you
Matthew,
then with
I'm
the
gonna send
ideas.
Matthew this link.
So we got stuff in the pipe. So there's stuff coming out, but there's not like a time frame on it. So, none of us are going to commit to, all right, check back in 2 weeks or anything like that. But there's stuff that's there. And then I guess if there's any other observations or questions, people can dump those in the comments and stuff like that. And that's that. So subscribe and shit, because otherwise it's going to be 6-8 weeks and you're gonna be like, oh, they released a video 4 weeks ago.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I never knew.
You never know
So-
with us if like random shit just happens over the course of 3
Yeah,
weeks.
there is
so,
no schedule
yeah.
here. You can't schedule. It's like herding cats to put 6 people into a project, or I mean, I guess at this point anywhere from like 3 to 7 people in a project, depending on what's going on. So
And we've all seen through my videos how good I personally am at herding cats, which is not at all, because they're gonna do whatever the fuck they want.
True.
Also musicians, same.
So
Musicians are cats. That's my final word.
cool.
Isn't this where Matthew plugs the Patreon?
Typically. It's been so long.
It still exists.
Like,
I mean,
it does. The Patreon.
still,
Do we have? Is it barriered? I don't remember if
It
we
is.
have like a
Oh,
monetary.
I guess we can say that. I do have, I did the reactions to RWBY Fairy Tales when it came out, and all 6 of those are up if you guys want to see that. And me
yeah.
spout nonsense about
The only
Goth Mom
the
being
only
mad.
stuff that's like really up there that's like not on YouTube is currently is the RWBY Fairy Tale stuff, and then there's Warrior Nun. You and Mary went through Warrior Nun.
Is there though?
Yeah, no, there is.
When to go?
But
On
subscribe to the Patreon. It is still a massive. I mean, it's a huge community of folks where, if nothing else, you it is one of the most fleshed out. It might be the most or like the biggest Discord server that I'm a part
Yeah,
of.
1000%.
Of like the 25 I'm looking at. It is a thorough, well made and well upkept community of folks who all gathered to talk about the stuff we love.
Yeah.
So if that's your jam and you want to come hang out with all of us, we'd love to have
I think
you.
the Discord is
They're
probably
all
the
Muppets
best
just
feature.
like us, and we love
It's
them.
a total dumpster fire.
I love it. It's everything.
Uh,
It's so good that we've had one rule for 2 years and nobody's
I
really
know.
broken it that much yet.
I go onto people's Discords and I see like, 7, 8, 9, 10 rules or very specific things, and and where is it? Hold on. And to quote it, because the rule, it's not even rules room, it's rule. And the rule is number 1, don't be a dick. And then the only thing to say about that is don't make us have to add more rules than that. You know better. And people have done very well with that.
9/9/2019 still undefeated, baby.
Yeah, that rule went up on 9/9/2019, and it's held strong. So we'll keep it with that.
Alrighty. Well,
It's so good that the mod chat just has tumbleweeds in it.
no, literally, I think Mod Chat has had like 6 things, and it's mostly just asking other mods questions. It's not actually any moderating
Where is
decisions.
the mod? Oh, there
I
it is.
don't even know.
Had to
When's the
find
last
it.
thing that was posted in it?
Last thing that was posted in mod chat was 10/15/21. That was me responding to something Paul said.
Yeah, and then that was
And that wasn't even a problem. That was just a random thing.
Yeah, and then that's how it is. So come hang out. We're fun. We're cool.
Oh, holy shit! There's that actual tumbleweed gif in the fucking mod chat.
Yeah, I put that in.
Oh, that's a year ago. That's funny.
So didn't even know that. All right, cool. Well, we'll see everyone next time.
Okay, I love you. Bye. Oh wait,